A day where key forwards had a big impact. He was fairly influential. So 1 vote for Mitch Georgiadis, 2 votes to Jace Burgoyne, who had 30 possessions, and he kicked 2 really, really nice goals. But I love the way he rounded out his game with 8 tackles and had some centre square bounce involvements as well. So well done to Jace Burgoyne. And 3 votes. And there were some good Essendon players out there today. Andy McGrath and Zach Merritt can find themselves pretty unlucky not to get a vote. But Nate Caddy's 6 goals was the best man on the ground, despite the Bombers not getting away with the 4 points. Nate Caddy's 6 goals, 6 marks, 17 disposals. He was the best man on the ground. And I think one of the most exciting things for Bombers supporters is there's still plenty of rough edges in his game. He's so exuberant and he tries hard and he throws himself bravely at the footy, but there's still some work and some forward craft that could add some other dimensions to his game. And if he can get some teammates to deliver him the ball with some efficiency, there's no limit to what he could possibly achieve at the top level.
3 to Caddy, 2 to Burgoyne, 1 to Georgiades. We're on air for another 3 minutes, 50 seconds. So down to Tim Morgan. Maybe you fire away, Tim.
Yeah, I got Joe Richards alongside me. Joe, obviously, there wasn't a huge amount on the line tonight, but imagine it's a pretty good feeling to finish with a win.
Yeah, exactly. We've had, I think, 6 losses in a row. So, yeah, that was a message coming in today, is how we can springboard into pre-season. I guess the start of that is a win today. So, yeah, pretty scrappy game, I thought, being out there. Wouldn't have been too great to watch, but, yeah, we got through it with a win. So, yeah, happy days.
You just had the team meeting there. What was sort of the coach's message after it?
Yeah, pretty much that. Just enjoy the off-season. But, yeah, we've still got a lot of work to do, obviously. I think we'll finish 15th on the ladder. So, yeah, where we are right now is not where we want to be. So, yeah, enjoy the win for the next a little bit, but we've still got some work to do over the pre-season.
You mentioned a bit of a scrappy affair, but do you take a fair bit from the resilience? Because every time they sort of looked like they were going to win, you found a way to respond, especially in that last quarter.
Yeah, that's right. We were up by three or so goals at half-time, and, yeah, they came out with an attitude in that third quarter and pegged it back. But, yeah, I guess for them to be up by a little bit in the last quarter and us, especially a young group, to, yeah, sort of regather ourselves and kick a few goals late there was, yeah, awesome. So, yeah, as I said, we've got a lot of young boys out there, and for them to get the win as well is pretty good. So, yeah.
And the performance of the skipper today, Mitch Georgiades, certainly, lived up to the new contract.
Yeah, new skipper. His pre-game and his half-time wasn't great. So, yeah, luckily he performed out there, and he came with a pretty sore hip. So, yeah, he wasn't moving too well, but, yeah, for him to kick 4 goals, so, yeah, pretty special performance from him.
What is the message and where's the improvement for this team, as you mentioned? Not where you want to finish, but where will the improvement come next season?
Hopefully get a few boys back that are injured. Yeah, get them rested up over the pre-season, get them back is a good start. I think defensively we're in pretty good shape for sort of 3/4 of the year. Yeah, a few blokes out hurts that, but I think offence over the pre-season will be a big focus, and how we can kick more scores.
And Zach Butters, are you hoping to hang on to him, though? It all points to the fact that he'll be heading back to this state in the off season.
Yeah, still hoping. Yeah. Obviously he's good at footy, but yeah, good mate as well. So yeah, we've got exit interviews this week, and might find out a little bit more then. But yeah, at the moment, I'm not too sure.
Thanks for your time, mate. Well done today.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you to Joe Richards and to Tim Morgan, giving us a good summary of how Port Adelaide view that victory. It was a 10-point win in the end, 16-9, 105. So the Bombers 14-11, 95 in front of 29,200 fans here at Docklands. So they snap a 6-game losing streak. Port Adelaide, they still finish in 16th spot, but 7 wins and 16 losses. While the Bombers, they claim the wooden spoon, their 5th and their first since 2016. They finished the season, and Dean Solomon's time as interim coach with 2 wins and 21 losses. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, gang.
We'll hear you, Bob, on ABC Melbourne tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. Chad, well, I'm sure we'll see you in the next few weeks. Thanks to Loz Borden.
Thanks, Clinchy.
Thanks to Tim Morgan, to Aaron back at base. Thanks to Stuart Hollywood-Baker. It was a victory for Port Adelaide by 10 points. We've got it all covered for you today on ABC Sport. The disappointment is the cricket has come to a close. A 2-day test. Australia has won by 107 runs. So disappointing for Bangladesh, unfortunately unable to back up their heroics from Darwin. So Australia winning by an innings, I should say, and 51 runs after Bangladesh were all out for 95. The coverage of that online, let's take you to the SCG, to our commentary team, Brett Spriggs, Daniel Garb, Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull, alongside Phil Pryor for Sydney, taking on North Melbourne. Thanks for your company on ABC Sport.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Sport.
AFL. On ABC Radio.
On digital. And ABC Listen.
Look for the AFL button.
Immersed in the biggest crisis of their proud history, the Sydney Swans will close a tumultuous week as they try and win back the respect of the football community and the broader Australian public, while today also trying to win a game of football. It's round 24, the Sydney Swans up against North Melbourne. The nature of this build-up is not lost on us here. And for network listeners who have just joined us from Essendon versus Port Adelaide at Docklands, we've already been in conversation so far with Swans legend Ryan O'Keefe, one of those who helped engineer the so-called Bloods culture that for so long was so revered. We've got Joel Patfull, a former Lion and Giant, here with us as well. My name is Brett Sprigg. Daniel Garb calls the action here with me. Phil Pryor on the boundary. Get to him very shortly. We're all too aware of the events of this week and the fallout across the football world, centred right here in Sydney and perhaps certainly beyond. And we make no attempt to gloss over that. Parts of this story are obviously very legally sensitive, particularly allegations made by the alleged victim or victims, and no player from the Sydney Swans, including the 5 suspended by the club, have been questioned by police relating to that. We're obviously here to view things through game of round 24 and the 2026 home and away season, and as part of that, the fact is the Swans are missing 5 very important players today and throughout September, despite being the number 2 seed. So what is usually the best possible path to a grand final appears muddy and treacherous for Dean Cox's men as they embark on their last assignment of this 2026 home and away season. The Swans and the Kangaroos here at a sunny Sydney cricket ground. No late changes for either side. So for North Melbourne, back in comes Luke McDonald from a calf injury alongside Josh Gota, posts some good VFL form. Out goes Harry Sheasel with a cheekbone fracture and Tom Myers, who has been omitted. 10 wins would be North's best finish since 2019 as they wind up Alistair Clarkson's 4th year in charge. But the opening ball up here is only a few moments away. Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull, break down the opportunity for me for those Swans players that come in. So Roy Wadham, of course, would have come back in at some stage anyway, you'd presume. Angus Sheldrick, Tom Hanley, Caden Cleary, Harry Cunningham. Unexpected opportunity for some of those guys to get, obviously, maybe a couple of finals as well in the next few weeks. What does today represent to them and the broader Swans playing group?
Yeah, look, I think these players that have brought in now have been probably given an opportunity that hopefully they're going to make a statement for themselves and for their own position. And I think it's something, well, we've been given this opportunity, let's not waste it, because there'll probably be some other players that are floating around, you know, coming into a team that's playing finals. You want to put your name up on that board, and these players are going to have to come in, play their role, what it might be. If you look at most of the players, they're fairly similar. Obviously, Cunningham's coming as a defender. Shoulder coming in that midfield absence. Young Hanley coming is pressure small forward as well. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting how these players come into the side and perform.
It's huge opportunity for them, isn't it? I mean, that you'd want those guys to come in and bring that energy and enthusiasm and probably try and, you know, lift the group up, which has had a really tough week like we've talked about. So you want those guys to come in and create that same enthusiasm and look to those guys to really get the game going. You know, talk about Cunningham off half-back and what that looks like. Maybe Sheldrick can get used off half-back as well. He's such a good ball user. So they'll look to get the ball in his hands and get that ball going forward to miss some of those key players that have obviously gone out.
Toss won by Callum Mills. Swans will kick to the Randwick end to start the southern end of the ground, at the right of your ABC Listen app or radios. And, well, they had 16,000 here for the AFLW. The Swans won that by 24 points over Essendon. And I'd have the crowd probably at low 20s. It is a sparse turnout for this round 24 fixture. So whether it's a statement being made by the broader population of Swans fans, or indeed the fact that there are still 2 opportunities to come here at home, 2 home finals with which to support the remaining Sydney Swans men's players. We'll just have to wait and see how it all transpires across this crisis ongoing. Let's get down to Phil Pryor on the boundary. G'day, Phil.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. A beautiful, clear 19 degrees. It's been sunny in Sydney today. We saw perfect SCG conditions for the earlier women's game, and that, of course, carries over here. An unmistakably unique build-up to this fixture can indeed be felt around the ground and down at boundary level, but the crowd does certainly appear to be thickening up for what it's worth. Throw in the fact it's game 100 for Academy product Braden Campbell. Expect an adrenaline-charged start to this one.
Let's go. Sunday footy here on ABC Sport, and you're with Daniel Garb.
It's been a seismic week in Sydney. The Swans discussed endlessly for all the wrong reasons. For a couple of hours at least, they can let their footy do the talking as Brodie Grundy wins the opening clearance to Caden Cleary. His kick inside 50 is chopped off by Cameron Zerha, who has transitioned into defence for North Melbourne this season. Gets them going from defensive 50. Took a while before taking his kick, and now he's turned it over. Nice grab by Tom McCartan, just forward of the wing. So the Swans can go inside 50 for a second time in the opening minute. Curnow the target, off hands. Campbell there in his 100th game to Papley, and Cleary will kick the first at the SCG on a Sunday afternoon. Well, that gives Sydney fans something to cheer about after one of the worst weeks in their history. Inside the opening minute and a bit. Sydney 1 straight 6, North Melbourne yet to score, and Caden Cleary, one of the players coming in, has kicked the first from a metre out.
You can, I know it's very, very early, but you can almost tell that they're changing the way they move the ball with the playing group that they got. It looks like they're going to be a lot more kick and more direct, so maybe we won't see that handball game, which has frustrated me all year. Maybe they're going to dial it back, saying, look, we're actually missing a lot of class here, and we might just play a little bit more a long, direct, contested brand of footy.
Saw a lot of energy after that goal as well. We saw Papley going over top with the celebration, trying to get around the team, obviously trying to get everyone up and involved in this game early.
Tom McCartan and Nick Larkey having a bit of a tussle up in the goal square. North's attacking end. Restart back in the middle. On to it, Luke Davies-Uniacke. They'll win the clearance here through Finn O'Sullivan towards half forward here. Mills spoils it away here, bouncing more towards the junction of 50. And we'll throw it back in at left half forward at North Melbourne's attacking end. That's the Paddington end of the SCG. Swans are 1 straight 6. Inside the opening couple of minutes, North yet to score.
So we saw Jai Sarong and James Rowbottom, the opening ball up, in the absence, of course, of Heaney and Warner. As Grundy taps it down on the paint of defensive 50. Lloyd, could Sherry go in the back of him? No, they both fall on the football. So we'll have a ball up, 60 out from North's goals.
That's probably going to be the depth test, is the Swans midfield. How are they going to replace all those players, and do they have enough depth to be able to fill that in?
Yeah, of course, the run of Blakey off halfback, and Bice, who was in a decent run of form. Yeah. And we know, of course, about the jobs that James Jordan does on the best players in the competition. Clean tap from Sherry down to McDonald. The kick into the left forward pocket. Tom McCartan's there, well tackled by Spargo, and the ball spills over the boundary line. So 9 wins for North this season. That's their best in 6 years, and if they can chalk up a 10th, that would equal their best from 7 years ago. So, in fact, it's a free kick here going the way of Spargo. It's been an improved campaign. Of course, they still would like to take things up a level and challenge more seriously for a final spot. That will be the remit next year as Spargo runs around from the left forward pocket and kicks across the face. They're on the board, North with it behind. Sydney 1 straight 6, 3 minutes gone in the first term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
We haven't spoken much at all about North, but when is it, like we've spoken to some other clubs on this development path they're on, when does that actually need to start paying some dividends?
There's a little 1-2 punch, sends it long beyond defensive 50. Cleary beaten through the air by Luke Parker. Speaking of Swans legends, Sherry hand pass off to Davies-Uniacke. Handball picked off by James Rowbottom. And now Roberts releases Goulden by hand off half-back. Grundy, his handball picked off here by Dylan Stevens, another former Swan. They go forward of halfway again here. Spargo to Trembath. Finn O'Sullivan back onto his right. Burke was smothered by Rampy. Bounces toward the boundary line. The veteran defender is tackled again by Spargo. The umpire says, give it to me for a ball up at right half forward for North Melbourne. The Swans are 1 straight 6. North are 1 behind. 4.5 played in the opening terms. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
To answer your question, Ryan, anything short of a final spot next season would be deemed a failure for North Melbourne. They've got to pop in 2027 with all the talents they've got. So many first-round draft picks on the field for them this afternoon as the players fall on the footy again at right half forward for North. No Harry Sheasel today, of course. Only the 3rd game he's missed since making his debut for North in 2023. And Sherry wins the free kick opposed to Grundy, and they go inside 50 off the hands of Paul Curtis. He's a danger today for the Swans. Well done by Harry Kyle, although the kick was affected with a late tackle. O'Sullivan picks it up, shared it with Parker. Centering ball across the attacking goal square. McDonald's there, handballs are back. Spargo with the shot on goal and slots it. Spargo slick on the snap. And North now have the lead with their first of the game. 1-1-7. Spargo with all of their scores. Sydney 1 straight 6. We've gone 5 minutes in the first quarter.
Just outnumbered them at ground level then. A few extra numbers at the drop of the ball. Spargo's been dangerous early. He's getting involved inside 50. Just the Swans' defence couldn't clear. But I have to say, it's a bit of a strange feeling at the moment, isn't it? Both teams kind of feeling each other out and how they're going about this game. The crowd also not sure how to respond.
It does feel a bit quiet here so far in this game. So North Melbourne can finish as high as 13th. They're currently sitting 14th. Of course, the Swans locked into second regardless. Final home game of this home and away season ahead of a home qualifying final in under a fortnight's time.
It's one of those games for North. You know, what are they getting out of it? Is to prove for next year, to build off that? That's probably just the question.
Grundy v Sherry, first hand saw it was now a Gordon's clearing kick towards half forward. Caden Cleary goes inside 50. Onto it down there, Billy Cootie. Beaten no to it first up by Charlie Comben. Tackles him, dispossesses him. Campbell, and now the Tolley will snap. It goes high toward the goal square. It might bounce. Up there for Cleary. Reaching for it down there. It was Logue, and then Zerha's kick was smothered. They will clear it here, North Melbourne, beyond defensive 50. Crashing the pack, Sherry. Grundy mops up. Back here now again for Wicks. And now Curnow, one of his right boot inside 50. Centering ball was perfect. Perfect delivery inside there for the Tolley. And he'll take his kick from 20 out directly in front.
Some really good forward pressure there from the Swans. Billy Cootie making a tackle to pin it in, and then just those small forwards. They've got a pretty small mobile forward line, the Swans, but they're going to make sure to put pressure on.
Tolley, left foot snap from 20 out. And this is missing the left-hand side. So a couple of celebratory points for the Swans, of course. Mentioned Campbell's 100th game. Also Charlie Curnow's Coleman coronation. Of course, he can't be beaten from the AFL's leading goal kicker award. It's 1-1-7 apiece here. 7 gone in the opening term.
The third Coleman medal for Charlie Curnow, of course. So McKercher goes short and gets it back in the left back pocket after the kick in. Up to the wing. Grundy and Sherry wrestling. Two of the best rucks in the comp. That's going to be a battle to enjoy. And the mark is taken by Will Dawson, slotting in behind the two rucks in front of Joel Hamlin. Sends North Melbourne to half forward. Larkey the target, off hands from Curtis at the front of the pack. Grundy does the roving, back to Rampy. Shares it with another veteran in Harry Cunningham. Another one back into the team. And kicks across defensive 50. Misses the target of Caden Cleary. And as a result, it's a lasso free kick that North Melbourne will take at right half forward, 60 out from their own goal.
Track it back here towards Dylan Stevens, one of 9 players to play every game this year for North Melbourne. Here's Finn O'Sullivan. Signed a recent extension on his contract till 2029. Pops it inside forward 50. And Simpkin, the former skipper, marks 40 out from goal in the right forward pocket. Not convinced here of his set shot option, Jai Simpkin, but now he's going back on the runway. Jai Simpkin, a 2-time best and fairest winner. 26 disposals, 2 goals last week in the loss against Geelong. Only a tight one. In by 15 points last start. Simpkin from 45 on the set shot. It's across the face. Might fall for Larkey. Sherry there as well. Grundy beats him to it. Handball picked off by Spargo. He comes back on the inside now of Harry Kyle. Centering ball here for North. In the pack, Darling fell down hard. And now the ball was locked in for a ball up. Deep at full forward for North Melbourne. 1-1-7 apiece here at the SCG. 9 gone in the opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Sherry grabs it clean out of the ruck. Looks for the handball to Simpkin. It was picked off though by Sarong, and his kick finds its way to Cootie as they try to exit defensive 50. The Swans under pressure here. Scores level, 1-1-7 apiece. 9 minutes into the first. A strong challenge by Wicks on the contest. Now the ball to spill free and for Sydney to work it up to half forward. McDonald's there, keeps it in play. Gathered nicely by Cootie. And it's off the hands of Comben, and that'll be a free kick to Sydney. Handballed it forward. Comben's big left slipper got in the way. So Cootie with the free kick. Deep into attack. Kerno with the fly off hands. And they lock it up. Deep in attacking 50. About 15 out from the Swans goals for a ball up. 1-1-7 apiece. 9.5 gone in the first.
They did well to get that out of defence, the Swans. There was a lot of numbers in there and just be able to sort of surge it through and get it forward.
Sherry uncontested in the ruck. She has a hand pass there to McDonald, and he's dispossessed. As now Sheldrick comes on the angle here in the pocket, hits the behind post on the full. So no change to our score here after 10 minutes at the SCG. 1-1-7 apiece. The Swans and the Kangaroos. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Angus Sheldrick, another one of the Swans to get an opportunity as a result of the saga that has unfolded this week. Looked like he was struggling to win over Dean Cox. A big opportunity for him to play a couple of finals at least, perhaps. As Wardlaw back after the litany of hamstring injury, sends it out to the wing, punched away from Darling by Rampy. And McDonald and Dylan Stevens, another former Swan. Still has some very close ties to this club, of course. The former top 5 draft pick sees it over the boundary line. So Stevens and Parker out there for North Melbourne today, former Sydney players. Boundary throw in left half forward for the Swans.
Back in it comes Sherry in front of Will Green at ground level. Simpkin gets there first. Hand pass off to Stevens. Beats the tackle of Cleary. Kicks down the line. Finds the chest of Darling as they start to surge forward in blue and white jumpers. Jack Darling kicked 4 goals against the Cats last week. Former West Coast Eagle, of course, a premiership player. They do exist, Garvey. West Coast Eagles premiership players.
He's had a fantastic season, Jack Darling, based on expectation. A lot of people have written him off.
Hardiman to Simpkin, and now gets the hand pass back to Riley Hardiman. A long raking ball towards half forward. Harry Kyle tries to intercept, won't pull down the grab. Trembath lurking for it down there as well as Curtis. And Curtis, in fact, sees it out of bounds for a throw-in at right half forward for North Melbourne. 1-1-7 apiece. 12 gone in the opening term. Here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Sunny conditions. The second of our 3 games today. And, of course, we'll close the home and away season with West Coast v Hawthorn in Perth.
Sherry is gang tackled by Will Green, the young ruck and Rowbottom, and Swans win it back. Rowbottom will try and soccer it forward. Caleb Daniel just cut in on him at half forward for North, and they fall on the footy again. A bit scrappy now. A number of stoppages. Still 1-1-7. 12 minutes into the first. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Wardlaw wins the hard ball for North. Handballs it backwards. McKercher tackled by Detoli, and we'll have another stoppage.
It's probably that sort of lack of class around the midfield that's probably showing out a little bit, being clean and be able to win that ball.
Out of the ruck, Will Green, third game up, pumps it long towards half forward. Too deep down there for Kerno, gathered by Cleary. Got a hand pass over his shoulder. Untidy here in defence, North Melbourne. Zerha bounds onto it and now switches back to the members' side. But the mark is taken by Will Dawson. 10 games this year for Will Dawson. Played 3 in 2024, 5 games last year. Just kicks out of bounds on the full. And the side of the SCG, with the ball back to the Sydney Swans, just behind the wing at a right half back. Sydney a 1-1-7, North Melbourne 1-1-7, 13 gone in the opening term. Earlier at Docklands, Port beat Essendon by 10 points.
So Essendon resigned to the wooden spoon as McCartan kicks to half forward. And there's a strong tackle there on Simpkin by Errol Goulden. They threatened to beat Port Adelaide, which would have elevated them above Richmond, of course, and that would have led to the Tigers having the number 1 draft pick. Essendon will keep that. Here's Papley, 55 out, sharked it off the pack on the run. And his kick is through for a behind. So 1-2-8 the Swans, North Melbourne 1-1-7, 13.5 gone in the first.
He read that beautifully, Paps, as he come roaring through the front and then just sharked that straight off. That was a beautiful bit of crumbing work.
Talk about that class in the Swans midfield. This is where you need the North can really attack through that midfield. They need Simpkin, they need Davies-Uniacke to really stand up through that midfield group.
Aiden calling the kick out. Nice big grab from Charlie Comben, who debuted against the Swans half a decade ago. Curtis spills it. Gets some pressure there from Wicks, and also down there Tom Hanley. And Curtis tries to win the footy back here for North Melbourne. Locked in here for a ball up between wing and half forward for the Sydney Swans, who lead by a point. 8 plays 7. 14 gone here in the opening term. Sunny conditions here at the SCG. Green and Sherry are tangled up here, and the umpire saw a free kick going the way. The more experienced North Melbourne ruckman.
It's going to be a good test for big young Will Green against a good ruckman like this. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes. And if this works, do they play Brodie's a bit of a resting forward, maybe. It's a bit of something different.
Sherry to Goda and now McKercher as North charge through the corridor of the SCG. Zerha throws it on the boot, deep into attack. Well done by Cunningham. That's an excellent grab. Got in front of Larkey, went for the punch. The ball just sat up for him and caught it on the second grab. Courage has never been anything that has lacked in Harry Cunningham's game. And he needed all of it there to put himself in front of Nick Larkey. Took an important defensive mark. Goes wide to his captain in Callum Mills, in the right back pocket. What a week he's had. Looking for Sarong on the wing, and it's off the legs of Trembath and over 4-8. Boundary throw-in. Swans up by a point. Yes, Ryan, you mentioned the lack of class from Sydney. No Heaney, no Warner, no Blakey, but no Harry Sheasel for North, and so much of what they do goes through him, of course. So his absence probably glaring in the opening half a quarter for now.
Swans by a point here. Umpire chucks it back in. First hands to it to Tolley. Sweeping hand pass wide. Papley onto it now. Can't quite get in the middle of the SCG. Now does get the hand pass forward himself to Tolley. Onto it from centre half forward. 40 out from goal. Has a look on the run. That's superb from Jesse de Tolley. On his 6th game overall. Rising star nom a couple of weeks ago. Jesse de Tolley gives the home side another goal here, and they have their second. The Swans are 2-2-14. North Melbourne are 1-1-7. We've played 16 minutes in this opening term. Sunday footy, ABC Sport with Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull.
Yeah, it was a beautiful finish through the middle. Papley once again getting involved in the middle, getting a bit of that spark, getting the ball going forward. Just the handball into space led to Tolley run on and finish well on the right. He snapped on the left from the set shot earlier in the game. I thought it looked like a young Ryan O'Keefe running around there, but he must be both sides of the foot. What's going on there?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't have snapped. I would have gone back set shot, you know that.
That's what I was going to say. You wouldn't have missed the first one.
Exactly right. But what was really impressive there by Jesse de Tolley was he made one contest, got out of Paps, and then he just kept going. As a small forward, if you're going to come up the ground, you've got to get back, and that's what he did really well.
Pick 22 from a couple of years ago. Big raps on de Tolley. Struggled for a game this season. It's only his 3rd of the year. That was a sign of the praise that many people at Sydney have for him. Here's Papley at left half forward. He kicks straight into Riley Hardiman, and then Stevens does well to keep that in the right back pocket. In fact, the boundary umpire says you didn't. I'm not sure he's happy with that decision. And the Swans fans, now they're up and about. Nice round of applause for their pressure defence inside attacking 50. Boundary throw in. Left forward pocket for Sydney. They're up by 7 points.
Back in it comes in the right. Dawson and Green. Path cleared down there for Hardiman, and now wrapped up all in all is Finn O'Sullivan. So ball up again here.
He's shown plenty of energy. Papley's getting right in there, putting a lot of pressure and giving heat to the North Melbourne players.
Lacking leadership around that stoppage and all parts of the ground. The Sydney Swans with those 5 absences as stumped away here by Big Will Dawson beyond defensive 50 and bounces toward the outer side. Kept alive by Darling momentarily, out of bounds for a throw-in. I actually had a look at Jesse de Tolley. So he's a right footer, but regarded as the best both sides kick in his draft year a couple of years ago. So that was the first thing I saw in my little search about Jesse de Tolley a short time ago. And to Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, it does feel like a bit of a swirling breeze is developing, which could explain some of the wayward kicking down the line that's sailed out of bounds on the full so far in this first term.
Here's Wicks at half back. Swans up by 7 points, 18 minutes into the first term. And again, they wrap it up. At right half forward for North, just outside the 50-metre line. Clean tap down to Wardlaw. Can he gather it? Goulden beats him to it, and Wardlaw falls on him, so we'll have another stoppage. 45 out from North's goals.
Speaking of things being wrapped up, the cricket in Mackay all over inside 2 days. Australia winning by an innings and 51 runs, avenging in some part the loss in Darwin for a 1-all series result. Here they go, the Swans beyond defensive 50. A free kick they will be paid the way of Logan McDonald in the contest with Stevens.
That's a statement win if I've ever heard of one there, Sprigger.
Mitchell Stark with 4 wickets in the second dig, 10 for the match. And all over inside 2 days. Here they go, some run for Billy Cootie. The Swans at half forward. He sends them deep inside 50. Hanley's down there. Great work from Tom Hanley. Got the separation down there against Goda. And he'll take his set shot from the top of the goal square.
Did that well, didn't he? Just use the hands when he had to. Great positioning. And it's a fine art, that one, isn't it? You can't push in the back, but you can hold your space. So did it very well for a young player.
Definitely. You can see the Swans small forwards are getting up the ground. You're seeing Papley, Detoli, Cootie getting up, and they've been able to get up over the back of the North Melbourne defence.
Among those 5 inclusions, Tom Hanley steers it through. So far this year, 2 wins and 2 losses. He gets the Swans third. They're out by 13 points, the home side. 3-2-20. North Melbourne are 1-1-7. Approaching time on in the opening quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport with Joel Patfull and Ryan O'Keefe.
And it's good to see these younger players actually get this opportunity. And so far, I know it's only early in the first quarter, they've stood up and say, hey, I belong in this team and I want to be part of this team going forward. It's really, really good to see.
By the way, round the grounds, AFLW, third term underway at Casey Fields. The Demons 5-3-33 lead the Giants 3 behinds, and also underway at Princes Park. Carlton 1-4-10 leads Adelaide yet to score.
So the on-field response from Sydney was always going to be intriguing. Early stages. They do have a 13-point lead. Into time on now in the first term. Beautiful Sunday afternoon in Sydney. It's been a purple patch weather-wise in the harbour city, and that's certainly continuing today. The crowd building after what looked like a sparse gathering ahead of the opening ball up. Well done by Wicks off half-back. Got it to Will Green. They go deep inside 50 again. Grundy is resting down there off his hands and through for a behind. It was nice from Wicks dashing out of half-back, so I'll need someone to give them some run without the lizard there. And he can provide it on his day. Swans up by 14 points.
Hutterman from half-back finds Zerha. A couple of West Aussies, and Zerha, as you mentioned, Galby, attacker turned defender, goes up the member's side. Strong pack grab taken there by Harry Kyle. And it's a dicey kick, though, middle of the ground. To the task for Tolley, bursting through Sheldrick in the corridor. Sends it deep inside 50 once more. It's marked down there by Cootie. Cootie plays on. North had stopped running. Cootie just thumps it into the second tier. And they pile on their 4th. So this young Swans brigade with a response early here. 4-3-27. They're out by 20 on North Melbourne, who are 1-1-7. 22 gone in the opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
It was an ambitious kick through the middle of the ground by Kyle, wasn't it? But it paid off, and Sheldrick through the middle caught him out the back. It's the Swans small forwards that are really getting up and about, aren't they? They're providing that energy. They, like you said, Ryan, they're getting up the ground, but then they're getting back as well, getting deep inside 50. Cootie that occasion getting out the back of the North Melbourne defence, and really just switched off the North Melbourne defence then. Shouldn't really allow him to run into an open goal square early. They've just dropped off a bit the last 5 or 10 minutes, the North defenders, and through that midfield as well, just getting dominated a little bit.
And you can sort of see why North are 13th, 14th on the ladder, because the defensive pressure's not up to it. And you think they'd go, oh, look, up against a young Swans team, let's put some pressure and heat on them.
Swans by 20 points now. Late stages of the first. North win the clearance through McDonald. Strong mark taken deep in defence by Callum Mills, opposed to Darling, and they move it on quickly. Grundy's all over the field at the moment. Takes the mark on the wing, moves it forward to Cootie, who's been outstanding. His 9th disposal to go with the goal in this first term. And now Campbell laces out for McDonald. McDonald dropped a mark he should have taken overhead. Zerha almost turns it over, though, in the right back pocket. And then McKercher is wrapped up by Campbell. To Billy Cootie, 9 touches, 3 inside 50s, a couple of score involvements and a goal himself in this first quarter. Swans by 20 points.
That was a bullet by Campbell. Too hot for McDonald. I think scorched his hands.
Sherry, quick hands off to Griffin Logue. His kick goes straight up in the air. Recovered here by Finn O'Sullivan for North Melbourne. And now reaching for it down there. Lloyd gets a free kick here for the Swans. Advantage paid as the kick comes into the pocket, out of bounds on the full. That was short-lived there for the Sydney Swans, and Zerha will have it for North Melbourne. Sydney leads by 20 points here. 23.5 played in the opening term. You're with Brett Sprigg alongside Daniel Garb. Your experts, Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull, with Phil Pryor on the boundary. Zerha drives it to the outer side. Pack forms, and up there Trambath plays on quickly. Comes into the corridor now for O'Sullivan. Pressure comes from Sheldrick and Rowbottom. O'Sullivan, though, breaks both tackles. Goes deep here inside forward 50. Curtis in the contest with Mills. Mills, the skipper, does well. Knocked out in the space, though, here for North Melbourne. And now onto it is Goda. It's come up the ground, and Goda traps the footy. Hand pass over his shoulder. Spargo brought down the Hanley tackle heavy, and the umpire says, holding the ball. Great work from Tom Hanley in the right back pocket. Swans by 20.
Had the chance to get rid of that Spargo. Had the arms free. decided not to handball, and that was the correct call from the umpire. Here's Goulden in the back pocket, switches it beautifully on that left boot to Jake Lloyd, who is now the only Swan in the team today to have played every game this season. The two-time Bob Skilton medalist, having an excellent campaign. Does well to dart around the man on the mark and share it with the man he's played a lot of footy with in Harry Cunningham. Floating ball up to the wing from Cunningham, and Core comes out to meet it. Campbell and Goulden ran into each other, and now there's a free kick going the way of Sydney to Errol Goulden. In fact, it is going to Campbell.
He's probably the one that's going to get a bit more attention now with some other midfielders out. Obviously, he's the next one in line, copping a bit of a tag. I think it's Finn O'Sullivan spending a bit of time on him.
Well, now they do have an obvious tag, the opposition. It's been such a big talking point when you've played the Swans. Who do you go to? Now it's straightforward. Try take down Errol because Heaney and Warner aren't there. And there's a free kick here to Papley. Just outside 50, and he's going back on his mark as if he wants to have a shot. Perhaps he's trying to just fox the opposition. He does, in fact, spot it up to the top of the goal square, and Grundy's taken a strong grab. Not paid, had a fair bit of it. Rowbottom now in the left forward pocket. Ball spills free. Logue lost the handle on it. Had that for a decent amount of time, Brodie Grundy.
I thought he's been unlucky to be paid the mark there.
Level ball up.
There's a lot of numbers down. Every time there's a stoppage in either team's forward line, there's a lot of numbers in there.
Up it goes. Sherry reaching for it. Sheldrick too, but North with numbers around the ball. McDonald, first game since round 19. It's the beyond offensive 50. Trembar through the air with Cunningham. Cunningham's come down second best. Onto it now, Caleb Daniel for the Kangaroos. And his kick goes along the boundary line. Zach Banch sends it inside forward 50. Curtis this time in the contest wins against Mills and thumps through the goal. And North have their second. So 2-1-13 North Melbourne. The Swans are 4-3-27. We've played 26 and a half minutes in this opening quarter. Sunday footy right here on ABC Sport. Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull.
It was probably a bit of a poor decision there by Harry Cunningham. I think Tommy McCartan had his opponent beat, just had to let him take it. So he came in, crashed in with Tommy, and it caused the extra number on the ground for the North to go forward. So
it's the golden rule as a defender, isn't it? When you come forward, you got to impact the contest, and he impacted it, but it still continued out the back, and his player was actually the one that got on and ran on, continuing inside 50. But and then Curtis out the back in the goal square just caught the Swans defence on the hop.
38 goals now for Paul Curtis. It's a fabulous campaign. Second most at North Melbourne behind Nick Larkey. Swans by 14 points. Grundy wins it at middle again, goes back to Lloyd, and he's turned it over by hand to Wardlaw. He's got plenty of space, charges through the middle of the SCG and goes long. McCartan had the set, but it was punched away from him smartly by Larkey, and then socket off the ground by Curtis. It's shaved the post, or gone through for a behind. It has hit the post, in fact. So that was a big opportunity for two within 30 seconds to North and Paul Curtis. Swans lead is 13 points.
Wicks to Kyle, and the Swans move it a little tentatively. Mills lays off the hand pass to Rampy. And number 27 for him tonight, or today, Dane Rampy. He's kicked a turnover straight down the throat of Cam Zerha. Zerha to Simpkin at centre-half back. So Rampy now with game number 287. He overtakes Ryan O'Keefe, 7th all-time on the Swans games list. They'll switch it back here to the members' side, where it's in the control of Charlie Comben. Rounding out his first year in North Melbourne's leadership group, Charlie Comben. Up this western side of the ground, McCartan intercepts here for the Swans, and they keep the 13-point lead late in the opening term.
McCartan to Mills, who didn't have an option he liked, eventually went the other way and found Roberts, shares it with Campbell. That kick, though, is straight to Griffin Logue, who takes the mark. Just inside defensive 50 for North. Handball quickly to Goda, that's dangerous. But he does find Luke Parker. Swans by 13 points. Parker to centre-half back. Spots up Spargo. The first of the afternoon for North Melbourne. That's a clever kick to find Curtis. And move it forward about 20 metres. Middle of the SCG. Curtis out to left half forward. Davies Uniacke the target. He pushed Mills off the contest there far too easily. So LDU, 65 out. Spots this up to the tall men deep in attack. Punched away from Sherry by Grundy. Grundy tries to move it forward and then dragged it back in, but that will be a ball up left forward pocket for North, who trail by 13 points. 29 minutes gone to the first.
Up it goes, Sherry and Grundy. And down here for Simpkin, who was bundled to the ground straight away by Callum Mills and Brodie Grundy for a high tackle and a free kick North Melbourne's way.
Oh, that's a bit lucky.
Big call.
Yeah, big call. Gives them an opportunity now to peg back a goal where the Swans have probably been dominant for most of this quarter, and just a couple of late goals in this quarter by Kangaroos has really sort of flattered the scoreboard for them.
Led at one stage by 20 points midway through this opening term, the Sydney Swans. Here is North's former skipper Jai Simpkin, who will now be marched to the top of the square or the goal line, presumably for some sort of verbal. Matt Roberts, the guilty party here, I think. The umpire just gesturing towards him. So Mills comes back on the mark, and ill discipline for the Sydney Swans. Not for the first time this week, as Jai Simpkin knocks through the goal to make it now 3 North Melbourne goals. 3-2-20. The Swans are 4-3-27 at the half-hour mark of the opening term.
I'm trying to work out what that was for, because I don't think you're saying bad. It was something about in line with the mark or something like that.
It was barely a free kick, to be honest with you, at the start as well. So they've been harshly dealt with twice there, the Sydney defender.
Roberts was trying to gesture to the umpire to bring him back on the proper line.
Yeah. And he said he encroached in this protected area, and he was about 5 metres behind the Swans. That is ridiculous. That is, these rules in the stand on the mark, it frustrates me. It's ruining the game.
2 in a row for North. The Swans lead back to 7 points. Late stages of this first term. Sherry and Grundy. Grundy does well to fox Sherry out of that ruck contest and then kick Sydney deep into attack. Toe poke forward by Curnow. Logue will pick it up. The pressure comes from Papley. Just slaps it away from him. We'll have a boundary throw in. Left forward pocket. SCG bathed in sunshine. Not the biggest crowd we've seen all season by a long way. Of course, it is a dead rubber. But, we did see some supporters choosing to leave after the AFLW game.
Toss back in at the Randwick end. Papley beaten to it though. McDonald hand pass off to Sherry. Back to Luke Davies-Uniacke. And again, North can just clear the area. Back towards right half back. It's left half for the Swans. Cootie's dispossessed, gathered here by Stevens, and now Trambath keeps it moving. A long kick down the other side. McCartan gets back in space and chops it off there for the Sydney Swans. They'll switch here back to Mills and come members side in the shadows, which is where they've got the run here. Hanley off to Wicks. Lost the footy momentarily. The boy from Manly Warringah goes inside forward 50, 2-on-2. McDonald to the target. And also in there was Papley with an effective spoil for Luke Parker. Haven't discussed him so far today, Ryan O'Keefe, one of your former teammates in Luke Parker. There's still going on here. So he played nearly 100 games at the Sydney Swans. And of course, he's now he's played every game this year for the Kangaroos. It's remarkable.
Oh, he's a good player, Parksy. He always has been. And, you know, going a different role down back, he's really suited and fitted in well and had a great year.
Swans by 7 points as the quarter time siren goes. So still a tight contest, but the response after the most drama-filled of weeks for Sydney is something that will encourage the Swans faithful, albeit in the very early stages. Sydney 4-3-27, North Melbourne 3-2-20 here at the SCG.
Well, those 4 goals kicked through to Tolley, Cootie, Cleary and Hanley. So, of course, 2 of those are among the 5 inclusions for the Sydney Swans for this round 24 fixture. 3 goals for the Kangaroos, all kicked to Spargo, Curtis and Simpkin, the most recent of those. The Swans by 7 points at the first change across ABC Radio, News Radio and ABC Listen. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Okay, let's do it. For the little legends in your life, the ABC Listen app now has a space just for kids and families. Ooh. Head to the Kids tab to create a custom kids profile. Ooh. Find all their favourite podcasts and music for daily routines.
Let's rock and roll.
Plus, it's the only place for new episodes of the Bluey Listen Along podcast. Radio, podcasts and routines.
I love it.
Everything families need, anytime on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Curnow the target, off hands. Campbell there in his 100th game to Papley, and Cleary will kick the first at the SCG on a Sunday afternoon. Well, that gives Sydney fans something to cheer about after one of the worst weeks in their history in inside the opening minute and a bit. McDonald's there, handballs are back. Spargo with the shot on goal and slots it. Spargo slick on the snap. North now have the lead with their first of the game.
Tolley onto it from centre half forward. 40 out from goal. Has a look on the run. That's superb from Jesse de Tolley. Sends it deep inside 50 once more. It's marked down there by Cootie. Cootie plays on. North had stopped running. Cootie just thumps it into the second tier. And they pile on their fourth. So this young Swans brigade with a response early here. Sends it inside forward 50. Curtis this time in the contest wins against Mills and thumps through the goal.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Some late momentum in this first quarter for the North Melbourne Football Club, who trailed by 7 points. The Swans did lead by 20 at one stage, time on in the opening term here at the SCG. It's now a 7-point ball game. The Swans 4-3-27, North Melbourne 3-2-20 on this final day of the AFL home and away season, where earlier at Docklands, Port Adelaide beat Essendon by 10 points, and that does resign the Bombers to this year's wooden spoon. We also saw a conclusion through the second test in Mackay inside barely 2 sessions. Australia winning there by an innings and 51 runs. Mitchell Starc with 4 wickets today, or in the second innings, and Pat Cummins and Nathan Lyon each had 3. Mitchell Starc with 10 for the match, and here's how it all finished in Mackay last hour.
And Nathan Lyon just trying to now finish this game off. He comes in, Shuffle, swinging at this off the edge, and he's caught it backward point by guess who? Mitchell Starc. He takes the catch that finishes the match off, and Australia win a huge victory after going down in the first test of the season. Nathan Lyon gets the last 2 wickets as Sharaful tried to hit that somewhere back into the ocean, and he got a top edge to backward point, and the catch taken there by Mitchell Starc, who'll obviously be the man of the match. So only 3 balls required after the tea break for Australia to win this game by an innings and 51 runs.
There we go. Jim Maxwell on the call there in Mackay, and Australia romped that innings victory in the second test for a 1-all series result there. West Coast v Hawthorn coming up later on, and of course, it may yet determine how things look in that top 4 if the Hawks can beat West Coast by enough. More on that later. As I mentioned earlier, Port beat Essendon by 10 points. The Swans lead North Melbourne by 7 points here at the SCG. And your experts are former Lion and Giant Joel Patfull and Norm Smith medalist and dual premiership winner Ryan O'Keefe.
Yeah, it was the Swans small forwards, wasn't it, that got them going early. We talked about Detoli, Papley, Sheldrick, Hanley, and Cootie really was the one getting up the ground, getting involved. 9 touches and kicked a goal. Was really dangerous forward to centre. But like you said, they're coming up to the stoppage, getting involved at the stoppage, but then pushing forward, making the ground long and getting those North Melbourne defenders out the back. Tommy McCartan's been good for the Swans. Intercept marking, get them going back the other way. But tall forwards from either side, finally, on such a great day. None of the tall forwards have really had a presence. Kerno hasn't been involved. Larkey on the other end hasn't been involved as well. So both teams will be trying to look to how they can get those players involved as the game goes along.
Yeah, that was my observation, that the tall forwards for both teams, and particularly the Coleman medalist and Logan McDonald, have had such a good year. They haven't really got involved, and it's been the smalls. And it's the forward pressure that both teams is sort of putting on. There's a lot of numbers invested in each forward line, particularly around stoppage. But yeah, the Sydney small forwards, Papley, you can see he's taken on a leadership role, and he's hunting everything. He's getting a fingertip. He's diving. He's smothering. He's leading from the front, and it's great to see. And the other small forwards are getting on board. So the thing you do notice, as we've mentioned before, there's a bit of class missing out in the midfield for both teams, and the game's a little bit clunky and not clean. There's a bit of fumble. So around that stoppage work, it's probably is not as crisp as we usually see at the SCG. So it'd be interesting to see how that pans out as the quarters wear on. The depth that can run through there. You can see the Swans now, they're starting Papley in there, Sarong's in there, Robot in there. It's not really a top-class midfield, you'd see. So it's a bit of a VFL sort of look, if you ask me, to be honest, about the look in the centre bounce at the moment.
Into the second term we go. Grundy wins it down there. Patley in the middle. But his teammate in there is Rowbottom, and now a hand pass from Mills back to Grundy. And they just slew this ball towards half forward. Campbell shares it with the toll. He goes inside forward 50. Too deep down there for McDonald. Had one arm held down there to Curnow in the contest with Core. The umpire says holding the ball. So great tackle from the former Giant on Charlie Curnow. And North will move this footy from half back. Parker goes beyond defensive 50. One of his former teammates, Cunningham, knocks it back there in the path of his teammate Roberts. Campbell spins through one tackle, off to Toley, 40 from goal, and he straightens up here, but not enough. And misses for a minor score. And that is the first score of this second quarter. Sydney are 4-4-28, North Melbourne 3-2-20 inside the opening 50 seconds of this second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
It's probably just a little lack of composure there by Toley. He just needed to lower his eyes. He would have hit Logan McDonald on the chest.
Core out to right half back for North. Larkey with the fly. Grundy stayed down and picked it up off the deck. Sweeping handball from Sheldrick to Toley. Back to Roberts. And now Campbell in the forward pocket in his 100th. Takes a bounce and kicks a goal in his milestone game. Lovely work, Braden Campbell. Just his 6th game of the season, and he has been on it from the moment he's made his way back into the Sydney side. Pick 5 from the 2020 draft. Brings up 3 figures in terms of games played today, and that was a lovely goal on the run. Swans up by 14 points.
So sometimes if you miss a lot of footy at the start of the year, you come the back end, you're fresh, and if you get your fitness up and match fitness up, you're very fresh, and some other players are struggling. And I think he took that ball, had a look around, saw it was Parks. He goes, I've got you, old mate. I've got you. And he just put on the jets, because I was surprised. I've gone, he's put 10 metres on that. Who's that player? Oh, it's Parksy. Yeah, it's all right. He got him.
He put on a couple of metres pretty quick as well.
He is sharp, Braden, and I think he looked back and saw Parksy and went, oh, man, I got you covered.
He is a very good player as well, Braden Campbell. When he gets going, he's so dangerous, and he's so efficient forward of centre as well, and can kick goals. I still remember that 2024 final, I think it was against the Giants, where he dominated and got him back into it.
I think came back in round 19 this year after a stress fracture in his shin. Josh Wrong tumbles a kick inside 50 here for the Sydney Swans. Patley outbodies Zerha. Hand pass back to Hanley. Flying shot from 25 out, hits the posts. The Swans on the attack again here in this second term early. They lead by 15 points. 5-5 plays 3-2. 2.5 minutes played.
I just get the feeling, looking at Braden Campbell, he came back with the mentality of enough's enough. I need to step up now. I need to be a gun player in this team. It's been a bit inconsistent, struggled to be a regular perhaps at times. McKercher has it here at right half back, and it's almost been a laser-like focus on being a strong contributor, and they'll need plenty of that in that first final in a couple of weeks against either Brisbane or Hawthorn here at the SCG. Probably the Lions, let's be honest, as Zerha from centre half back moves it out to left half forward for North, punched away from the contest, and that's a good tackle by Hanley on Gota. And we'll have the ball up just inside the boundary line under the Bill O'Reilly stand on the outer wing.
By the way, in the AFLW, 3/4 time, Melbourne leads the Giants by 29 points. Carlton leads Adelaide by 16 late in the second term. Here's the Swans and Rowbottom towards half forward. Curnow not paid the grab. First one with though, Jake Lloyd. Shares it with Hanley. Spent it before he had it. Back to the veteran Lloyd, who straightens up from 25 out and pops it through. So Jake Lloyd, his 94th AFL game, who's signed on for next year as well. Jake Lloyd pops through the goal here, and the Swans have a new game-high lead. 6-5-41. The North Melbourne 3-2-20. We've played 4.5 minutes in this second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
The run from the Swans' small forwards or players that are getting up and back is just crucifying North. North just can't counteract, or their defence is getting very exposed with this smallish forward line.
It's a lack of pressure on the ball, isn't it, from the North Melbourne defenders? They just can't either hold a tackle or stop the ball coming forward. I mean, I would have expected more in a game where there's been so much hype, and it's such a big game for North Melbourne, where they could come up here and do some damage and really challenge the Swans. They just haven't had that energy and that effort and that pressure from the first bounce, have they?
Quick goals to start this second term from both Campbell and now Jake Lloyd. It's Luke Davies-Uniacke With the clearing kick from the middle of the ground to centre half forward. Sherry could have taken the grab. It just slipped through his fingers. Gathered nicely by Harry Kyle. The 1-2 with Sarong from half back. Almost turns it over, but the ball finds its way to Mills. Loops a handball over the top to Rowbottom. They move it beautifully through the middle of the SCG. Grundy back to Rowbottom, and Papley's taken the mark. Well, these Swans say we can still produce some quality despite the players that are missing. That was lovely, under pressure as well. And Papley will take the shot from 40 out straight in front.
Some great runs. Young Harry Kyle again running through, just that wave. They just keep going and going, and that's the thing. They get out of the blocks early out of a quarter. North just need to stem the flow a little bit, and generally the Swans will go at you hard, and you just got to be able to take that. But at the moment, North have got no answer.
Tom Papley wouldn't mind lifting this SCG crowd after the week the Swans fans have had to make it 3 in a row for Sydney. Papley delivers. Swans out to a 27-point lead. Blitzing North Melbourne early in the second term. A lovely passage of play, wasn't it? Especially the handball from Mills over the top to Rowbottom, and Grundy was involved as well. Yep. North was applying some pressure through that passage.
We're talking about their backs not providing any pressure, but around the midfield, around the contest, the North mids are just lackluster. They're no two-way transition, defensive running. It's all good when they got the ball, but you got to be the class and the best midfielders are two-way runners.
Well, sometimes you just need to hit a body, don't you? Hit a body, make a tackle. Doesn't have to be huge, but it's just got to be a little thing. At the moment, the Swans are doing what they want, and it showed them when they could run straight through the middle of the ground with little pressure.
Yeah, one stage had 12 goals in 5 games, and he was goalless last week against Essendon. Tom Papley. On the restart here, Goulden, that is just precise to find Billy Cootie at left half forward. Pops the Swans inside 50. Curnow leads into the pocket and takes the chest mark. And had his first good look from 35 out on a 45-degree angle.
That's some good composure there, both from Errol out of the centre clearance into Cootie. And this is probably really the first time Charlie's had a shot on goal today.
Of course, he leads the Coleman, unless, Jack Gunston, Nick Watson can kick 15 against the Eagle, whatever the margin is. He's got that locked up for a third time in his career, Charlie Curnow, at his new club. He snaps on the right, curls it around the posts. There's number 1 today for Charlie. 67 goals on the year. And the Swans with a scoring blitz to start their second term. 8-5-53 to North to a 3-2-20. They've kicked 4 goals to none in the first 8 minutes of this second quarter so far.
I didn't kick many goals in my career, but you got to talk to me about this, Ryan. That's as hard a kick as you can kick. A snap around the body from 45, we'll say. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's done it well. It's a tough kick. I suppose the Irish lads, that's how they kick goals, and if you can make the ball curl and you can understand the trajectory of what you're kicking it, I suppose that's the way to do it, particularly from that on a right foot bending, opening the angle up. But yeah, it's something, if you practice it, you get good at it, then use it.
That's why he's the Coleman medal winner, not
exactly
me.
Right, yeah.
Swans up to a 33-point lead, trying to restore some pride ahead of the finals. North playing for pride. Not showing too much of it right now, especially in the second term. As Goda does take the mark after the Swans won another clearance. Takes the mark at half back and switches it out to Dylan Stevens behind the wing. Former Swan on that rangy left boot up to half forward. Grundy with a big fly. He's been brilliant early on. 13 touches for Brodie Grundy. Swans win it back but then turn it over to Griffin Logue. So 5 straight goals. 4 straight goals in fact to start the second term for Sydney as North move it forward, and Spargo takes the mark in front of Rampy. He's right with him in the middle of the SCG. Just trying to keep hold of the football for a moment, North. They've turned it over. Well read by Campbell. Handball to Goulden. And now they're out everywhere for Sydney. Long ball over the top for McDonald to take the mark or win the free kick. Ball was coming the other way. Wasn't looking at the footy. That's a straightforward one. And Logan McDonald will kick from 40 out straight in front to make it 5 straight for the Swans down to Phil Pryor on the boundary.
done by the doctors. He's has a little bit of clarity around the nose, so he was forced from the field. And on the other bench, there's a North Melbourne player that's being looked at and treated. We're still yet to find out who that is. He just emerges now. It's actually Cooper Trembath.
Logan McDonald for the 40th goal of his season. Straight in front for 5 straight for the Swans. Goal umpire doesn't move. This is excellent from Sydney in the second term. 39 points they lead by. 9-5-59. North Melbourne 3-2-20, and this is lifting spirits around the SCG.
It's really good to see Logan McDonald playing consistent footy, getting a full season. He's been highly touted as a great player. Obviously the Swans have put a lot of hope and work into him, and now he's starting to pay off, and he's going to be. I think he's going to become one of the premier key forwards in the competition. He's still quite young, but to see him get fit and have a full season and play consistent footy and kick 40-odd goals for a year, that's not a bad turnout for a second string forward when your other forwards won the Coleman.
So it is in fact a career best year for Logan McDonald. So 40 goals on the year. His 91st AFL game. And from the restart, wrapped up down there is Luke Davies' Uniac by James Rowbottom. Umpire says give it to me, chucks it in the air, Sherry palms it down, first to it to Tolley, Roberts brought down there in the tackle of Riley Hardiman, and again the umpire will ball it up. It's a good North Melbourne name, Hardiman. I don't know if you've been to the pub, then I think it's North Melbourne or Kensington, that area. He's actually in WA anyway, Riley Hardiman, but anyway. Down it comes to Jai Simpkin. Goes to half forward, too deep for Larkey. McCart intercepts, gives away the free kick, in fact, on North Melbourne skipper. Larkey, 55 from goal. 39 points is the Sydney Swans lead. Kicked 5 goals last week. Pulls it short here from 55 out. Through the hands of Curtis. It's, in fact, touched. A couple of sets of hands there. Minor score for North Melbourne, who are 3-3-21. They trail the Swans, who are 9-5-59. 12 gone in this second quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
It was a bit of a nothing kick.
I'd rather him have a shot there. He's the key forward. He's 50 out. He's kicked it half wrap power and landed 2 metres out from the goal line. So have a crack.
Clever handball from Sarong after gathering it on the half volley from Goulden's kick. They then move it out to left half back, and it evades McCartan. That'll be a lasso free kick going the way of North.
Kept going away from him. He just wouldn't sit up.
Will be Zach Banch. He goes short into attack, and the mark is taken by George Wardlaw. So a chance for North to end this 5-goal run from the Swans. Sydney leading by 38 points. Only 12 and a half gone in the second term. Wardlaw can't make the distance, so spots it up to the top of the square. Larkey got purchase on it. Banch just fell to ground. And that should be holding the football. Umpire says play on. And eventually, the Swans, in fact, don't rush it through for a behind. And move it across the defensive goal square. Lloyd out to right half back. Cleary there. Goda with him. Cleary does well to find some space. The pressure is poor, and then handballs it to Cunningham at right half back.
Veteran lays off the hand pass here for Wicks. Room to bounce off half back. Now a second for Sam Wicks. Giving chases Finn O'Sullivan. 3 bounces for Wicks. Goes deep inside 50 here. Slightly off target. Zerha with a touch on that. Out of bounds for a throw-in. 40 around from goal. The Swans attacking end. Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, Cooper Trembath appears A-OK for North Melbourne. Dane Rampy, he's already up to his second hamstring. He's getting some plenty of rubs down there. So before half-time, that is a little bit unexpected, I suppose.
Sarong gets it here from the throw-in, and now Lloyd brought down there. Sullivan tackle. Sarong goes into assist. Hand pass here on the bounce to McCartan. Off it comes here now for Goulden. 47 touches last week. Goulden pass inside 50. Curnow skills the grab. Free kick will come here for the chop. And Charlie Curnow, a Coleman medalist, in waiting for a third time. A line up here for his second goal.
Well, they need to lift their intensity, don't they? The North Melbourne team, they're witches hats at the moment. They're just doing what they want. They're Swans, and they're not playing with any great intensity either. So it's a bit of circle work, but the Swans are just doing it a bit better.
Well, you could just see when Wicks took the ball and started running, it's like the North players are just jogging behind him, and he's going. I think he was shocked he had to be able to bounce so many times, and I think he duffed the kick because he realised, what's going on here? I'm getting no pressure.
But Charlie Curnow, Coleman medalist in 2022, 2023. Here in 2026, lining up for his 68th goal on the year and his second this afternoon. Comes in, kicks from 45 and pushes it across the face for a minor score. The Swans now 9-6-60. Melbourne a 3-3-21. 15 gone in the second term.
It's been a really poor quarter from North. Chance to win 10 games in a season for the first time since 2019.
Oh, you're serious. He's following a player. This is ridiculous.
It's a 50-metre penalty going the way of Griffin Logue, which Ryan O'Keefe, 2012 Norm Smith medalist, was rather displeased about. Logue chooses to play on. They might have coughed it up here. He went the quick handball to Wardlaw. And Curnow, running back and doing the defensive work, has ended up picking it off. Forward to Detoli. And then it's left behind by Billy Cootie. Rowbottom falls on it. Wardlaw wins it back after his earlier mistake. Puts Stevens under pressure, though, at centre-half back with a handball. Spargo comes in to help. And we'll have a ball up. So this has been rather disappointing from North, considering the opportunity after Sydney's week to win a game at the SCG and chalk up 10 victories for the season.
It was held by O'Sullivan up. I didn't see it. North have the footy. Davies Uniac comes wide here for McDonald. Rides the bump. Down there of Cootie, and now Campbell lays a tackle which will be awarded. And he wrapped up immediately. The man down there in McKercher. In fact, no, the umpire says it will be a ball up.
It's great. What the Swans are bringing it is tremendous pressure, particularly in their front half.
Will Green palms it down. Daniel there first for North Melbourne. Simpkin bursting away. Hand pass out in space here in front of Zach Banch. Well, coming out of the half-back line there is McCartan. Second to it, though. Trembath first. He can't tackle Trembath. His kick goes inside 50 and it's going to go out over the behind line for a minor score. So North Melbourne 3-4-22. Trail Sydney, who are 9-6-60. Margin 38. The midway stage of this second quarter at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
James Rowbottom up to 8 tackles. He has been everywhere in the clinches and he's clearly out there to make a bit of a statement.
Well, it's simple, Gab. Like, it doesn't matter who's playing. Those things, those 1%ers, those pressures, it doesn't take talent. It just takes will and desire to do it. And that's what these Swans players are bringing today.
James Rowbottom exemplifies that as well as any Swan. The warrior in the midfield. 8 tackles is incredible tally before half-time as Goulden goes short to Sheldrick. Back to Errol Goulden now in the centre circles of the SCG. Drills one to centre-half forward. Zerhard did well to chop it off. The pass was directed towards Detoli. Now North can try and bounce off half-back and get something going in the second term. They move it out to Caleb Daniel, who marks on the wing and has a bit of space. Looks for Banch. The pressure came the other way from Sheldrick. He impacted the contest. Swans can win it back. The handball, though, is chopped off by Curtis at half-forward. Gathered now by Trembath. Loops it over the top line for Spargo. Spargo was slow to get going towards it. And we'll have a ball up just inside 50 for North. We trailed by 38 points and can't generate any sort of flow in the second term.
Well, they're definitely not tagging Goulden because now he's starting to rack and stack him.
47 touches last week and 1,000 metres gained. Second week in a row last week, Errol Goulden. The free kick here will go the way of Will Green from that ruck contest. The third game up. Swans by 38 in the bright sunshine here at the SCG. Green sends it to a pack on the western side. Grundy a little too deep in there. Spoiled away there by North Melbourne. Roberts just paddled it back here. Gathered though by Wardlaw. Off to McKercher inside 50. Scrawling for it, Zach Banch. He's paid the grab. On the cusp of 50. He lays off the hand pass to McKercher. The young Tasmanian spills it. Slips one tackle though. Back to Banch. Goes wider still to the pocket to find McDonald. And he'll be set up here. 35 out. Deep at right, full forward. So McKercher, I think, called for that ball from Banch, but then didn't use it in the appropriate fashion. So here is Luke McDonald. First game since round 19. Former skipper. Goal that North Melbourne so desperately need on the left, and he just nurses this across the face. Is it paid down there for Trembath, who went up there for a second bite? Now he plays on and pops it through. The umpire says, we'll come back here. They're going to check, I think, with the arc to see if it is, in fact, a paid mark to Cooper Trembath on the behind line.
Can they use that for a mark?
They can use it for anything.
Can they?
It can be no score, it can be behind.
Oh, no, it's gone over the line. That's a point.
So that will be then. I think that was the umpire's soft call anyway. and it will not be. There we go. So it wasn't controlled in time by Cooper Trembath, and that will be a minor score for North Melbourne, who are now 3-4-22. They trail the Swans, who are 9-6-60. We hit the 20-minute mark of this second quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. That make it 3-5-23. Margin is 37.
It was another sort of, I'm going to have a shot, not have a shot kick by McDonald again. Like, go back, have some conviction about it and go back, put it through.
Mills moves around Larkey, who was on the mark after stepping out of his defensive goal square. Now gets it back, kicks the centre half forward off the hands of the tall targets. Papley roved it, but turned it over to Comben in defence for North. Moves it out quickly. Mark taken by Stevens, out on a long lead. 37 points, Sydney lead by. Dominant in this second term. North without a major for the quarter. And that's a nice mark defensively taken by Joel Hamling. Another one into the Sydney team with a chance to play some finals footy now. Hamling up to half forward. Will Green the target. Lumbers towards that contest. Brought it to ground, but we'll have a boundary throw in just in front of the North Melbourne bench.
It's the thing, Ryan and Joel. It's not just what it means for the team in terms of having that top line talent missing, but it could change the entire trajectory of careers like Caden Cleary, Angus Sheldrick, Joel Hamling even, who of course won a flag 10 years ago. What it means for those guys and potential contracts going forward. The likes of Sheldrick and Cleary are off contract next year. Davies Uniacke beats a tackle. O'Sullivan, Stevens to Daniel are now here for the Kangaroos, and Hardiman off half back. Too quick for Papley, and he just flares it across the half-back line. Zerha has the pace and Cleary to beat. Zerha does well to keep his feet. Has options nearby, though. No. Chopped off by Curnow. Goes to the pocket now. A little overcooked was that kick looking for Papley, and it skids out of bounds for a throw-in.
It does. There's huge ramifications for everyone involved, doesn't it? And as bad as it is on one side, obviously gives huge opportunities for some of these young guys coming through. Well, we've already seen some of those guys today benefit from having an opportunity.
And that's life in general, isn't it? One door closes, someone open. Can you take that opportunity that's given to you? That's just what always happens. So, yep.
Here's Papley in the right forward pocket. This would be an incredible goal. It's through for behind, a fair chance. So the Swans 5-4 to North Melbourne 3 behinds in this term. And a 7-point lead at quarter time, now out to 38 in favour of the Swans.
Here goes North Melbourne on the kick out. Luke Parker. I said every game this year, the former Sydney Swan. And this is a passing close by foot to Daniel. Lays off the hand pass. Gota. Some decent VFL form. Off to Daniel. Comes Members' side. A little too wide of a target there in Sherry. And it will be last disposal North Melbourne. And free kick for Sydney in front of the interchange gates here on this Members' side. So Wicks wastes no time. Shares it with Goulden. Still got the remnants of those blonde tips in his hair as he just, with his preferred left boot, just pumps it across to centre half back for Rampy. Added some space, Cleary. Plays on around McDonald. And his kick to Hanley, who marks just in time up against that eastern side boundary line. Wastes the kick though. Spargo chops it off here for North Melbourne. Shared now with Trembath. Put down big by Mills. On the overlap, here goes Rampy. Back to the skipper in Mills. Off to Campbell. He lost the footy here under the pressure from Parker. Rampy goes to ground. Trembath goes with him. Campbell wins it back here for the Swans. Goulden turns blind away from an opponent. Goes inside forward 50. It skids out there for Griffin Logue. North can rebound.
Likely to turn this over because they do a 2-on-1. Cleary did well, but gave away the free kick in that contest on Luke Davies-Uniacke. So the crowd doesn't like that, but LDU will take it from left half back. North without a goal in this quarter, trailing by 38 points. And that kicks to another 2-on-1 in favour of Sydney. So Lloyd wins the contest and Goulden's able to gather it. Looked for Campbell, who left it behind, but then Mills on the logo on the wing. Able to pick it up and pump it deep into attack. Comben floats across and punches it towards the boundary line. Gathered by Davies-Uniacke in the left back pocket. Short to Zerha. That's barely the 15, but it's marked by Parker, who asks for some teammates to come towards him and make a lead. Goes short to Caleb Daniel. It's a little bit stagnant from North. It tells the story of this quarter.
Solid under pressure now from 3. Sydney Swans gets it away somehow. Daniel, a head clash out there with Hanley. Play goes on. Daniel's still down. O'Sullivan now for North Melbourne on a short kick to the outer side. Simpkin floats it back here for O'Sullivan. Sweeping hand pass forward here again. Spargo sets up inside 50 and finds the chest of Banch, who marks on that squaring ball 40 out directly in front.
It was hard work, but they finally were able to settle in and find a target inside 50. Where it's always hard to move the ball from one end to the other when you can't hit a target. So they worked it through. It was hard work, but Spargo, he has been okay up forward. He's provided an option. He's been pretty clean when he's had the footy. Able to find an option there inside 50.
Zach Banch, who actually debuted here last year in round 19. This is his 12th game overall. The youngster trots over the 50, kicks from 48. Good looking set shot from Zach Banch. The North have their 4th goal of the afternoon. The Kangaroos are 4-5-29. They trail the Swans, who are 9-7-61 after 26 minutes of this second quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport with Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull.
Yeah, after the hot start from the Swans, this sort of middle to late part of the quarter has been really sort of hard grind. Both teams are turning it over. Even the Swans have made some really costly missed kicks, particularly from some of them younger players. And again, the Kangaroos are just... you can tell the difference between good players and the players that they're just clean. Like, it's just one touch. They're not fumbling. They make the right decisions. They don't second guess themselves. And we're seeing a bit of that out there. There's a lot of fumbles, a lot of drop marks, a lot of missed kicks. So that's probably just the difference in the level at the moment between the good players and the players that are just sort of underneath in that sort of second tier.
Zach Banch for the first goal of the term for North. The lead now 32 points in favour of the Swans. Grundy soccers it forward. Hardiman with a big leap. Couldn't take the mark in defensive 50. They shuffle it out by hands and then move it forward to Wardlaw, who couldn't quite judge that in the air. Breaks free of the row bottom tackle. That's not easy to do after regathering it. Moves it forward to Curtis. Curtis, a long ball looking for Darling, who has taken the mark and runs forward and pokes it through from a metre out. So 2 in succession for North. Jack Darling's on the board with the 36th goal of his season. Now that Swans lead is back to 26, and we've got 27 minutes in the second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
That's just come off a couple of really good, strong contests there by the Kangaroos. Out of their back line, and then just to be able to shrug the tackle there from Wardlaw. Right bottom had his grips to be able to just get out of that, and then Curtis kicked it to a Jack Darling one-on-one with Callum Mills undersized. He's generally going to win most of them.
Well, that's what you talk about. When you talk about physicality and what it looks like in a game of footy, like, it doesn't have to be the big tackle. It's breaking one tackle. He broke one row bottom tackle, gets the ball out, and releases that player who gets it over the top to Jack Darling, who then has another contest. He wins that and kicks a goal. Around the grounds, full-time AFLW at Casey. Melbourne have beaten GWS by 48 points. Alicia Eva, the Giants' only goal scorer. Shout out to a good friend Alicia. Restart back in the middle. Free kick going the way here of North Melbourne. And waiting for it for Kircher. Cutting across to Tolley. Also in there, Lloyd, wrapped up by a couple of Kangaroos, and the umpire says, give it to me. Meanwhile, at Princes Park, Carlton 4-5-29 leads Adelaide 2-3-15. Earlier, Swans beat Essendon here at the SCG, and Freo beat Collingwood by 20 points at Victoria Park. Another stoppage here at the Sydney Cricket Ground, where the Swans lead by 26 points late in this second term. Grundy and Sherry in the ruck. Comes to O'Sullivan. Just spears the pass inside 50. Hamlin beaten in the contest. Serhard bursts through. Now playing up forward. Swings it back to the hot spot, but will come back here for a throw-in, I fancy. Stoppage inside 50 at the Randwick end, which North Melbourne are attacking to. They trail by 26 points.
They're just starting to win a bit of the contest and stoppage work now, Kangaroos. About to get field position off the back of that.
Yeah, just giving themselves a much better chance as we get closer to half-time. Sheldrick under pressure. Up and under ball in defensive 50. Trembath got hands to it. Couldn't take the mark. Cunningham there. Shares it with Kyle. Sheldrick. And now Wicks. This is much better from North. And make sure they trap it in attacking 50. Another boundary throw-in. But that was some better attack on the football in their own attacking part of the ground. Jack Darling, 36 goals for the season. His biggest haul since 2021. after many had written him off. It's a really strong campaign from the former Eagle.
Back in it comes. Shildrick dispossessed. And there in the tackle. And the umpire will ball up again. One of just 12 players ever, Garvey, who's been the top 50 for both games played and goals kicked, Jack Darling. So there you go. Tatoli spins to the McKercher tackle. Shares the hand pass to Sarong. Away they go here, the Swans, with Sheldrick. His kick out front of Campbell. Avoid of options, though, as it's picked off by Parker. Runs back into Tatoli. Fires the hand pass back now for Josh Gota. And North move it by hand here. McKercher runs straight into Sarong. Pressure here from Corp, but he's head over it. Weeks in the oncoming traffic, and now it's puffed up by Braden Campbell over the line for a throw-in on this western side of the SCG, which has the Sydney Swans leading by 26 points. Cap off the most tumultuous week, turbulent week in their history. At the half-hour marker of the second term, Grundy versus Sherry in the ruck. Hand pass was slick, comes here for Davies Uniacke. He walks around Harry Kyle, almost broke his ankles, goes deep inside forward 50. McDonald cuts off here in defence. So he's playing back, McDonald. And takes the mark at fullback for Sydney.
He might be playing as an extra number behind the ball, just ice this last bit of the second quarter.
Yeah, stemming the flow. Good grab from McDonald. Looks for Grundy. Nice leap opposed to Cherry. They'll have a ball up just behind the wing for the Swans. Lead by 26 points. North with a couple of quick goals as we get close to half-time. Here's Sarong. Handballs it forward. While on the ground, Sheldrick gathers it, goes back to Rowbottom, who's got 8 tackles as we get close to half-time. And then Curnow and Comben see it over the line, but it was not touched before going over the boundary line from Rowbottom's kick. So a free kick to North. Comben retreats ground to Aidan Corr. Doesn't have too many options, so has to go long. Sherry and Grundy go at it again. They've done this ad nauseum in this first half, and Sherry gets some separation and takes the grab on the wing.
Sherry now pass off to Gota. Straight around the mark and Rowbottom. On the ground, Rowbottom that's now picked up by Tatoli. And now Grundy. Options in field. Look at with Tatoli. Loads up. High ball inside forward. 50 wants to find Papley or Curnow. At the drop. Papley beaten to McDonald. And now it's been kept alive here by North Melbourne. Spargo down the corridor. And Larkey can't make any use of that before the half-time siren. So Sydney kicked the first 5 goals of this second term. North have kicked the next 2 from that point. From what was at one stage a 39-point lead in the home side's favour. Now 26 points at the major break. It's 9-7-61, the Swans to the Kangaroos, 5-5-35. The goal kickers so far for the Swans, Tatoli, Papley, Curnow, Hanley, Cootie and Campbell, as well as Cleary, Lloyd and McDonald. Meanwhile, for North Melbourne, so that's 9 different goal scorers for the Sydney Swans so far. Meanwhile, for North, with those 5 majors through Spargo, Curtis, Darling, Simpkin and Banch. Our experts here on ABC Sport, an All-Smith medalist Ryan O'Keefe and former Lion and Giant Joel Patfull.
Yeah, look, the Swans came out, jumped out of the blocks there, kicked their 5 goals really early and just sort of really took the game away. But it basically came off the back of their hard work, their forward pressure, their smalls again being really strong contributors to the game, and the lack of pressure and the lack of chase or contest from the Kangaroos. And I think in the back end of that quarter, I think it got in a little bit more of a contest, and the Kangaroos a little bit better around the stoppage there and started getting some ball forward, some wins forward, and winning a couple of those one-on-one contests.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And then it's just a few of those little ones, those crucial contests, 1-on-1 inside 50, a broken tackle, starts to get the momentum going your way. But, I mean, the lack of almost intensity from the Kangaroos in that quarter was striking, wasn't it? You'd think they would be the ones who would be bringing the game to the Swans, and looking at this is such a big opportunity to get the win, but they were nowhere for long periods of time in that quarter. But they did turn it around those last few minutes and get a few goals back on the line, which was good. But I mean, for me, Gouldens had 14 in that quarter. He had 4 touches in the first quarter, and they go away from the tag. And there's I'm not sure why you'd do that. It looks like Rowbottom's kind of doing a number on Simpkin, which if it's good enough for the Swans to tag someone, I just don't understand why you would let Goulden have so much free range. He's probably the one that started to connect the Swans a bit more, get that ball going inside 50, and his ball use is so damaging. I just do not understand why you wouldn't have someone running with the whole quarter.
I think they do, but he just keeps going and run. And I just don't think they have someone that can go with him. It just works entirely. If you watch him, he never stops moving. Never stops moving. And I remember that was something when I used to tell my players, particularly his forwards, you should never stop moving. Be hard to play against. And I think Errol's so hard to play against because he's never still. He's always moving, he's running, he collects, he gets those easy handballs that they look to give him the ball and they help him out. So he's just one of those players who just keep going and going. So have the Kangaroos got someone that can do that and match him in that running capacity and do that as well? But yeah, I think Rob Bottom is either going to Simpkins or LDU. I think he's sort of doing that sort of job in there. But probably what started happening in that last bit of that quarter was the depth of the Swans midfield started getting exposed, and the Kangaroos were able to start winning those clearances and contests from there. So that's how we're going to interesting to see how that goes on. But I think from the Kangaroos' perspective, they can't let the Swans come out this quarter, kick 3, 4, 5 goals early and blow this game apart. And then the Swans can afford to sort of just go in cruise control a little bit.
Well, you're right. I think if they bring that pressure, neither team has been super clean. So if they can bring enough pressure and apply that to those guys you talked about, they're going to get opportunities. They're going to get looks going the other way. So that'd have to be a focus for them in the second half.
Seems odd that you deliver a stern message in the final game of the season when there's nothing really to play for apart from pride from North Melbourne. But would that be coming here from Alistair Clarkson when you look at the lack of pressure at times in that first half from his Chargers?
I would have thought. I mean, I would have thought there's every reason to have a big game and have that intensity today. Like, it's the last game of the year, but like we talked about, it's the first time in so many years they could win 10 for the year, and you want to end on a good note, and they've got every opportunity possible to take this game out, and I haven't seen that effort and energy. I would have thought he would be pretty disappointed at halftime.
Oh, you would be, considering if we're saying they're planning for next year, and next year's a really important year for this group and the coaching staff. If they come out and they're absolutely taught a lesson by, let's be honest, a Swans second team, really, particularly, and they come out and they get belted, you'd be going, how far off are we? We're nowhere near finals.
They're a VFL team, if the way they're performing right now. If a compromised Swans team is doing what they want, they are VFL level right now.
Exactly right. So that's where you got to be. Where's the pride? Like, where these players? If they've given up on that, like, that'd be hugely frustrating for Kangaroo and their supporters.
They were in the top 10 till round 16, North Melbourne. So they've lost 6 of their past 7 to this point then to be here at round 24. So we'll see if there is a response from them, trailing by 4 and a bit goals at the major break here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Earlier, Port beat Essendon by 10 points at Docklands. That does resign the Bombers to the wooden spoon as they await to announce their senior coach. Of course, it won't be the interim man, Dean Solomon, or it's not thought that to be the case, and potentially Mark McVeigh, one of our old ABC Sport mates, might get the gig here. Of course, that would have ramifications on the Sydney Swans if indeed he is to depart immediately, as does often transpire. Sometimes clubs allow assistants to carry on the year, and we've seen it work different ways. What we do know is this: Freo finished first, Sydney finished second. We are locked in for our wildcard finals for next week. So Melbourne v Carlton, Bulldogs against Collingwood. Still to come, West Coast versus Hawthorn at Perth Stadium. So essentially, if the Hawks beat West Coast by less than 90 points, things will stay as is with that top 4 of Freo, Sydney, Brisbane, Geelong. Freo plays Geelong, Sydney plays Brisbane. If the Hawks win by 90 or more, now bear in mind it also depends on the scores from either side, then the Hawks will come up into third. It'll be Freo versus Brisbane, Sydney versus Hawthorn. It wouldn't be lost on the Swans, this narrative around, you finished third and you get to face the Swans second in the qualifying. It's the best path to the grand final, because it may well be the case, of course, with 4 of their best players missing. But the Swans, I'm sure, will be aware of the fact that everyone thinks they're a sure thing to get beat in the finals.
Hawthorn still have to win. I know everyone talks about the margin, and they should win, of course. But back in 2019, a Hawthorn side that was near the bottom 4 beat a West Coast team that had to win to make the top 4. West Coast finished 5th and fell way short of challenging in that final series the year after winning the flag. So, of course, they should. But if they don't win, and they finished 6th. I mean, that just changes the complexion of their final setup completely.
It sure does. So that's, if West Coast win, it'll be Freo v Geelong. The top 4 stays, as is Sydney versus Brisbane. Then, of course, it has ramifications on what that bottom part of the 8 or the 10 looks like with those wildcard winners to face. Hawthorn, if they are to lose to West Coast today at Perth Stadium and finish 6th. Just got to put it out there. The AFLW earlier, Sydney beat Essendon by 24 points, front of a 16,000 strong crowd here at the SCG. It is a little sparse here for a usual men's game, but there was a loud ovation which cheered the team off at half-time. At Victoria Park, Freo beat Collingwood by 20 points in the AFLW. Melbourne beat the Giants by 48 at Casey Fields, and currently at Princes Park, Carlton 5-6-36 leads Adelaide 3-4-22 late in the third term. The Airport also faces Hawthorn at Alberton later on to close off AFLW round 2. It's the Swans by 26 points here at half-time at the SCG. Back with more after the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. Ukraine's Interior Minister says an investigation has begun into operators of a shopping mall in the city of Kryvyi, where 16 people were killed and more than 100 injured in Russian drone attacks on Friday. More from the BBC's Tom Bailey.
The investigation will be examining whether visitors and staff at the mall were properly informed of the threat they faced. Posting on social media, Mr. Vyhivsky stressed the importance to Ukrainians of taking threats seriously and taking timely measures, particularly in regions on the front line. He added that the director of a supermarket where many of those killed were found had been formally placed under investigation for suspected negligence after the shop reportedly continued to operate despite warnings of an imminent air assault.
The federal government is working with rice company Sunrise on how they can save dozens of jobs in the New South Wales Riverina region. Earlier this month, the company confirmed it was cutting about 80 jobs because of low crop volumes. However, the government says it's in talks with the company about a multi-million-dollar proposal to ramp up rice cake packaging to redeploy the staff. Local MP, One Nation's David Farley, has met with key government figures about the issue and says he's happy with how discussions are progressing.
I was impressed how Albanese at the Governor-General's event the other night came straight up to me and said, look, I'm aware of it, I'm working on it, we'll get it done. So, I tilt my hat to them.
The Department of Natural Resources in Tasmania believes it's inevitable marine animals in the state will test positive to the H5 bird flu. Following confirmation, a mammal in Australia has died from the virus. Federal Agriculture Minister Julie Collins has this morning confirmed a long-nosed fur seal was found dead at Beach Port in South Australia and tested positive for the virus. NRE says Tasmania's migratory bird deaths from the virus remains at 19. The department's Wes Ford says marine life, such as seals, are vulnerable species, so it's likely that Tasmania will see them become affected.
It's logical to suggest that if we're going to see, as it spreads, we'll inevitably see seals potentially as a source or an animal that will pick up bird flu and then will transmit it.
No poultry farms across the country have been affected by the H5 strain. The Victorian government has announced additional funding to support the public dental system a day after revealing its $230 million election pledge to open 10 public clinics offering free dental care. The walk-in clinics will be available to anyone and are estimated to have the capacity to treat more than 100,000 patients annually. The Labor government hopes to open them by the middle of next year. Premier Ben Carroll says there will also be an additional $12.9 million of funding provided to help recruit, train and retain dental workers.
For scholarships, for recruitment, more dentists, more dental assistants, more administrative staff. This will see another 180 professionals come into and work in our 10 free public dental clinics.
A number of diehard Sydney Swans AFL fans have walked out of the Sydney Cricket Ground in response to the scandal that's engulfed the club's men's side over the past week. Victoria Pengelly is there.
An estimated 16,000 fans turned up to support the match between the women's Swans and Essendon, with the Swans securing a win 66-42. A number of long-term Swans members walked out after the game ended to send a message to the club after 5 players were sanctioned for breaching club protocols. One fan told the ABC the incident and the club's response had fundamentally changed their perception of the Swans, which has long been upheld for its progressive values. It's unclear how many fans left in protest to the scandal. Some left for logistical reasons, while others hadn't planned to stay for the men's game in the first place.
Australia has beaten Bangladesh by an innings and 51 runs in the second cricket test in Mackay. The win levelled the 2-match series at 1-1 after Bangladesh won the first test in Darwin by 9 wickets. Spinner Nathan Lyon took the last 2 wickets immediately after tea, with Bangladesh failing to add to its tea break score of 95. Fast bowler Mitchell Starc took 10 wickets for the match. That brings us up to date with the latest ABC News. For more at any time of the day or night, you can download the ABC Listen app.
Every community has stories worth sharing. ABC Your Say is your chance to join the conversation. If there's an issue affecting you, we want to hear about it. ABC Your Say will be out and about in towns, regions and cities across Australia, listening to what matters most to you.
I think it's the cost of living, energy bills,
job security.
The housing crisis has been a really big issue.
Tell us what's on your mind. Visit abc.net.au/yoursay.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
From Sheldrick to Detoli, back to Roberts, and now Campbell in the forward pocket in his 100th, takes a bounce and kicks a goal in his milestone game. Lovely work, Braden Campbell. Just his 6th game of the season, and he has been on it from the moment he's made his way back into the Sydney side. Well read by Campbell. Handball to Goulden. Now they're out everywhere for Sydney. Long ball over the top for McDonald to take the mark or win the free kick. Ball was coming the other way. Wasn't looking at the footy. That's a straightforward one. Logan McDonald will kick from 40 out straight in front for 5 straight for the Swans. Goal umpire doesn't move. Curtis, a long ball looking for Darling, who has taken the mark and runs forward and pokes it through from a metre out. So 2 in succession for North. Jack Darling's on the board with the 36th goal of his season.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Swans by 26 here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Welcome back to the penultimate game of this 2026 home and away season, round 24. My name is Brett Sprigg, alongside Daniel Garb and Phil Pryor. Our experts are Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull, with the second half not too far away here. The Swans that lead the Kangaroos by that margin of 26 points. Just on the AFLW happening live at Princes Park, 3/4 time there. Carlton 5-6-36 leads Adelaide 3-5-23. In case you missed it, Ryan O'Keefe was downstairs with a lot of his former teammates, forming a guard of honour for both the men's players post their warm-up and more importantly the AFLW players who came off the fields after their 24-point win over Essendon. I asked Ryan, in case you missed it, about the Bloods culture, which of course was engineered by a bunch of his former teammates, and the effects that this week's news and the events of this week have had on that.
As past players, sort of at the end of the week, we sort of reached out to each other and said, hey, look, the club's bigger than an individual or a group of individuals. Anyone around, can we go there and show our support for the whole club, and both the men's and the women's program, be there and just show our support, and a bit of, we created this culture and we're just going to make sure that this culture continues and it's not destroyed by, some actions of some individuals.
Has it, do you think?
Look, it's been tested, obviously, and I think the club's done a really good thing and basically said that, our standards and what we stand for in our culture, we will put these players and sideline for the rest of the season. It could jeopardise our season, but that's bigger, and our culture and the long-term probably outcome of this is going to be better for us doing that than trying to sort of brush it over and try and put like a Mickey Mouse sort of punishment on these players for breaching clubs' standards and protocols, just for the fact that, hey, it might help us win a final.
The perspective of Ryan O'Keefe, who we spoke to pre-game about this. He was downstairs amongst the vibe post the AFLW, which of course was a resounding win in front of a record crowd. It was all part of the mood of the week and reaffirming this club's respect for women and its AFLW program, and in light of what's sort of transpired from daybreak Monday morning in Melbourne. The players are back out there the second half, not too far away. So I guess this will continue being a concurrent thing, Ryan, as far as the on-field aspects, and we're seeing the Swans now lead comfortably at half-time, although still some work to do in the second half. Missing 4 of their best players as part of the club-imposed sanctions for breaching team disciplinary standards. And then, of course, what it does for the club more broadly in terms of winning back the respect of the football world and I think society more broadly as well. Is that sort of a fair way to sum it up?
Well, I suppose there's two parts to this. I think, what's done on the footy side, and we know we've got 5 players out. We can't pick from them. So put that aside. Now we need to move on from that and go, how do we go forward? What are we doing? We've seen today opportunities for young players. They have to make their plan and their statement on the game. The coaches and everyone involved have got to plan ahead, and this is how we look as a team. Do we need to change a few things on our game style? And they'll move on playing footy as a footy club. In terms of the club earning, and this is probably where I'm a little bit disappointed at people that have abandoned the club, like not maybe, I will say it is junior footy finals at the moment. I know my son's playing a final, so that could be the case.
With a lower crowd.
A lower crowd. But for people to go, I'm not going to go support the Swans because of this. As I said earlier, I think the club themselves have got on and made a statement and put in the punishments to the players and say, this is not acceptable. This is not who we are as a club because of what some individuals do. And for people to say, oh, that's it, I'm abandoning the Swans because of this issue, well, do you just jump off the ship because having a bit of bad thing? I think that you can't blame the whole club for what's happened from a certain individuals. So that's where I'm sort of a little bit torn on here. We could have been quite easy. Oh, this is rubbish. Let's get it. We're not going to support. We're going to boycott the Swans. But it's not the club. The club is bigger than 5 players. There's so many people over so many years that put a lot of hard work into the club, and I think, and the AFLW and everything, I think the club, needs to be supported in this time. Like, Dean Cox and the board, they would have woke up and gone, what's happened here? We're trying to work through this. There's all the other players that weren't involved. Where's the support for them? That's where I'm sort of saying I'm a little bit disappointed on if people are boycotting it.
West Coast versus Hawthorn coming up at Perth Stadium later on. Earlier in Mackay, inside 2 days, Australia beat Bangladesh by an innings and 51 runs. Mitchell Starc with 10 wickets and was man of the match. So not too far away here for the second half between the Swans and the Kangaroos. North can jump up to 13th. By the way, they've not won here in 11 years. In fact, since 2018. So for only win here in 11 years. Let's get underway in the second half. Here is Daniel Garb on ABC Sports.
Swans by 26 points, trying to give a week from hell a bit of a lift. And Spargo tries to get it free for North in the middle of the ground. Cherry gathers it now, snaps it inside 50. Trembath with the leap from the back of the pack, gathered by Goulden. He's been brilliant as per usual. Rowbottom with 8 tackles to half-time, turns it over to Hardiman on the wing. Earl Goulden with 18 touches, Mills 17, Grundy 16, Cherry with 14 for North, Davies Uniacke 13 as Kangaroos go inside 50, but Grundy takes the mark at half-back opposed to Darling. Darling with the chase on Goulden, forced the turnover. Nice tackle by Sarong and McDonald, who gathered the football. Will have a ball up just forward of the wing, favouring North Melbourne.
Swans won 11 in a row against the Kangaroos. Only 3 of those here at the SCG. North's only win here in 11 years was round 7, 2018, a 2-point win in which Mason Wood kicked 4 goals, including the winner. What I'm trying to say before, and this is chopped off now by Charlie Comben, left half back for North Melbourne. 26 points is the Swans' lead. No score as yet, early stages, third term. Back to half forward they go. In the hole, it drops for Zurhaar. Played his 150th earlier this year in Canberra against the Giants. Cam Zurhaar. The umpire blows time off, and then I think Sullivan's tying up his bootlaces there on the forward 50. Zurhaar goes for a trot. Deep to the hot spot here for the Kangaroos. Trembath couldn't get there. Curtis lurking, and Rampy pressures him. Towed forward by Simpkin, but I think Roberts got there in time. Minor score, North Melbourne. 5-6, trails 9-7. Margin 25 points the Swans' way. Early stages, third term.
That was bizarre, that hold over play.
It was Darling was down behind play. I think he was Hamling.
Yeah.
Him and Hamling may have run into each other, I think.
Errol Goulden with the exiting kick from defensive 50. Picked off by Luke Parker. So solid start to this third term from North. They kicked the last 2 goals of the second quarter just to give themselves a much better chance. But that's a turnover from Parker. Gathered by Goulden. Possession number 22 for him. Up to the wing. Curnow did well to win that contest and stand tall and send a looping handball forward to Campbell in game 100. He'll just centre it. The mark is taken by Cootie. Braden Campbell in game 100 with a laser-like pass. And Billy Cootie can have a shot for his second goal from 15 out in a slight angle to the right.
He's got a deadly left foot, Braden Campbell. We've mentioned it before, but I think actually no one is on Goulden now. I saw the last 2 stoppages. No one went near him at all.
He's playing off the back, and there's not even a forward rolling up onto him, like which you would expect for anyone, but let alone Errol Goulden. So bizarre.
He's averaging near enough to 40 possessions over the last month as Billy Cootie waltzes in and kicks his second. And the Swans put their lead back out to 31 points. 10-7-67, North Melbourne 5-6-36. So Billy Cootie with a couple. Errol's now up to 22 touches, and he just shakes the tag off through pure grit. His running power is just unbelievable, and he's opening this game up now for Sydney.
And as I said, they've given up on that. There's no one on him. He's going to have another 40-plus touches. I'm telling you now, if they don't go near him, he's going to have another 40-plus touches.
There's a tag, and you can still play on someone at a stoppage. Like, even though you're not tagging him, you still got a matchup. Like, he was sitting off the back of the stoppage, and like I said, normally a forward would roll up, or there'd be another midfielder that would man up on him. But he genuinely had 5 metres each side to do as he pleases. 4 disposals, in the first couple of minutes here, and he's looking damaging.
Billy Cootie, by the way, is undefeated across his first 8 games of his career. So he's 8-0, looking for 9 defeats from 9 wins from 9 starts here. Restart back in the middle. Sherry, pressured by Rowbottom. Umpire deeming here there will be a free kick going the way of Rowbottom's teammate Goulden. So here's disposal number 23 coming up for him. And that raking left boot. Deep to full forward. Grundy in the hole. Knocked down there by Sherry. Parker does the crumbing. Overcooks the hand pass for Caleb Daniel. Keeps it alive somehow. That Goulden bursting through, intercepts it. Shares it now with Cleary. And now from 45 out, Patley has a look. It's right across the face. Out of bounds on the full. Let's get down to Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, Jack Darling, it appears he's getting some eye drops as doctors attend to him after that incident that held up play just moments ago.
Swans by 31 points. Exiting kick from defensive 50. Tapped forward by Curtis to Spargo. Now Finn O'Sullivan in space. That's a terrible kick. Not sure what he was trying to do. Poked it over the head of Larky. Mills took the mark at centre half back. Now the Swans can go on transition. Grundy out to Cleary. Just forward of the wing. Has Cunningham running in support. Gives him the handball. Now the kick into attack is picked off by Sherry, so make the most of that opportunity, the Swans, after North's turnover. And that is a dangerous kick that Cootie chops off across defensive 50 from North. Couldn't quite gather it. And we'll have a boundary throw in the right forward pocket. Billy Cootie, 13 touches, 4 score involvements and a couple of goals. As you say, he's never been beaten while playing for the Sydney Swans, and he's certainly doing his very best to keep that run going today.
Swans by 31. Toss back in, Grundy in front, palms it down. Daniel, though, for the Kangaroos. Shows it McDonald goes off the half-back line. Long kick. And Mills had to take not paid somehow. Wrapped up down there by Zurhaar. Rampy's got some space to move here. Shares a hand pass to McCartan. Couple of steps, and Zurhaar can close him down. Back to the captain, Mills. Loose man there is Rowbottom. Fires it back here again now as Wicks goes for a dash on this member's wing. Through some space. High ball inside 50. McDonald in the direction of him. He goes through his hands over for a throw-in. Deep at right, full forward for the Swans at the Randwick, and they lead by 31 points. 10-7 plays 5-6. 6.5 minutes gone, third quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport, and Jack Darling headed to the rooms.
Grundy with front position, look for the quick tap down to Papley. It's a nice tackle by Comben and McDonald. So the ball up, deep in attack for the Swans. Up by 31 points. Grundy down to Sarong, gathered by Rowbottom, who had a chance to convert from 20 out on a 45-degree angle, but missed near side. James Rowbottom up to 9 tackles now. Brilliant in the clinches. The Swans out to a 32-point lead.
North waste no time on the kick out. Come to the western side. Curtis up in front. Didn't get there. Trambath race on foot, he and Lloyd toward the interchange gates, and it was going to be deemed here deliberate. And it will be Swans free kick. Mills brings it back in. It goes deep inside 50. In from the side, Comben on Grundy. Patley from the pocket, 40 out, putting towards goal. Down there is McDonald, second, third bite, and Kerno tries to assist. It's off his chest and over for a behind.
The McDonald, you think against Cape, Daniel would have taken that. There's a fair height difference.
Daniel with a kick out here for North Melbourne. 10-9 plays 5-6. Swans by 33. 8 minutes played, third quarter.
Daniel goes short to Dylan Stevens. North with plenty of work to do. Down by 6 goals. Up to the wing. Good contest by Larkey, but McCartan, his opponent, kept his feet and was able to win it. Here's Wicks, who's shown some dash out of half-back. Went to Rowbottom, now to Sheldrick. Inside 50 to Jake Lloyd, the veteran on the snap. Just pulls it across the face. It's a wave of attack from the Swans, who are now up by 34 points. As soon as they win it back, they're able to penetrate North with a fair bit of ease.
If I can go scores around the ground. Under 17 Div 1, second semi-final. Eastern Suburbs, Stingrays beat North Shore.
Wow, there we go. That's fantastic. Levi, O'Keefe and co. Spargo inside forward, 50. Lucky, a strong grab. Got the better of McCartan. The North Melbourne skipper marks 45 from goal in the right forward pocket.
Well, it's first bit of ball movement they've had through the middle of the ground, haven't they? It's a good kick out of the defensive 50 through the middle, and Larkey got in behind. It's the first time we've really had a look at him today. He's been pretty quiet, and he's been down on form a little bit this year as well, hasn't he? He's lost a bit of confidence with his goal kicking. And
kicked 5 goals last week against the Cats. It was his best effort since round 2. You'd expect a couple of sort of 5-goal hauls from a spearhead such as he. North Melbourne's on-field leader. Crosses the 50 in the right forward pocket and just steers this through. Lucky on the board, and North have their first goal of this second half at the SCG. 6-6-42, the goal to Nick Larkey, who trail the Swans, who are 10-10-70. We've played 9.5 minutes in this third term, down to Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, on the other bench, Swans ruck, Will Green, he was getting some pretty heavy-handed treatment to the back of his right shoulder to start that third term. Now, obviously, if the Swans do continue to kick away, I'm sure the coaching staff would have been thinking that Brodie Grundy's one of the first you potentially put on ice. So the Will Green situation's one to continue to monitor in this second half.
So a goal apiece in this third term. Swans by 28 points. Larkey on the board with his first of the game, 45th of the season. And he's battled with the Yips along with Jake Waterman in terms of the two spearheads in the AFL who struggled for accuracy. That was a tough kick, so we'll give him some confidence in the second half as the Swans win it, and Kerno with a big lead takes the mark deep in attack. And it was a smooth clearance out of the middle. Happily emerged with it, and then Kerno, the Coleman Medal winner-elect, with a big lead deep in attack, and he'll have the shot from 35 out straight in front.
Both tall forwards have been quiet and they've gone bang bang. That's what you want to see, isn't it? Your big tall forwards leading out, taking a grab from the centre square. He's always dangerous when he runs and jumps at the wall.
Charlie Kerno to send the Swans back out to a 6-goal lead. And he's pulled this one. So 67 goals for his season. Charlie Kerno. Swans now lead by 29 points after that behind. 10-11-71 North Melbourne, 6-6-42. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
They probably could have kicked 3 or 4 goals if they've missed easy ones. We would have put this game to bed already.
Daniel, it's a core. Former Giant, back to the former Bulldog. And he kicks from left half back. Henley chops it off here for the Swans at a right half forward, just forward of the wing. Among those 5 inclusions, Tom Hanley deep to the pocket. Outnumbered down there, Griffin Logue in front of Charlie Curnow. Takes the grab here for North Melbourne. 29 points in the Sydney Swans' favour. 12 minutes played, third term. From the docker, Logue beyond offensive 50. Curtis got a shove in there on Harry Kyle. That was legal, says the umpire. Throws it across half back with Gota. Daniel run down by Patley. You'll love to see that. Ball comes loose. Gota hand pass back to Curtis and North recover it. Gota back here again now for Hardiman. We're going to come back here for something else. It's not Patley and Daniel.
How is that not holding the ball?
I think there's some justice being played out here with Braden Campbell. It's going to be coming back his way in the Swans from half forward. So Campbell, his 100th game, next time McDonald was beaten through the air by Comben. It's off hands for a throw-in.
There's been a couple of bizarre decisions by the umpire against this one. The Cullen Mills one, how is that not either a free kick or a mark, and then that not holding the ball? That is outrageous.
Swans by 29 points. Wardlaw breaks free of the Will Green tackle. Almost got hold of the ball, and then Rowbottom just dumps him into the turf. They're maintaining their aggression, the Swans. Out to make a statement for their embattled football club today. They do well to lock this in attacking 50. Sherry, though, shakes off Green in the ruck contest. They struggle to get rid of it, though. They've turned it over. Here's Rowbottom again. Sherry puts some pressure on him. Gathered by Green. Loops the handball out to Roberts. Now Campbell has some space on that trusty left. He hit the post. You'd expect him to convert from that range, Braden Campbell. A couple of missed opportunities, to say the least, in this third term from the Swans. In the lead is 30 points now. 10-12-72 to North Melbourne, 6-6-42.
Daniel short kick to Hardiman. Only 7 games this year. Make it 8 now for Riley Hardiman. In the left back pocket. Sets it up. Pack forms. Sherry comes across the front and takes the mark. Lays off the hand pass to Gota. Among their 2 inclusions this afternoon for North Melbourne. Zerha breaks the tackle. Gets rid of Sarong as well. Offloads the hand pass to Gota. Sends it inside 50. Dropping back there was Curtis, but Mills will rebound here for the Swans. Spiralling ball finds the chest of Curnow. They're surging forward now in red and white. Curnow looks up inside forward 50, and he finds one of the men going down there into Tolley. Got some way McDonald. McDonald now can't parry it to advantage. He was wrapped up down there by Comben. Tolley, though, gets free. Swings back onto his right and finds the chest of Sarong. 35 out directly in front. Well, it was bad miscommunication there between Tolley and McDonald. Ended up okay, though, here with Jai Sarong and a set shot from 30 out almost directly in front.
You always got to let the big key forward take the mark.
Exactly right. 50, yep. You just needed to watch and see and just go, we'll just get front and square in case he drops it. That was a very poor communication there. Lucky to get away with it. They really need it. I think the Swans should have had 3 or 4 goals. This one is really, really important. I think just to sort of help top off some good work they've done.
Goals in his past 4 games, Jai Sarong. Only missed the 1 game for his new club this year, and he misses near side. Minor score. Swans 10-13-73. North Melbourne 6-6-42. Margin 31, midway stage of this third term. Round the grounds AFLW, almost full time at Princes Park. Carlton 7-8-50. Leads Adelaide 3-5-23. That'll be a 0-2 start for the AFLW powerhouse, the Adelaide Crows.
McKercher out to Stevens, a right half back. The Swans have kicked 1-6 for the quarter. North Melbourne 1-1. That's some golden opportunities. Better from North. O'Sullivan to McKercher, but that's a poor kick. Well read by Rampy. North forwards are going the other way. He came out to meet the ball and took the defensive mark. Handball on to Goulden. Another disposal for him, and that's an effective one to find Tolley at half forward. Further forward to Sarong at centre half forward and into a dangerous spot. Well done, Griffin Logue. After the deep kick was looking for McDonald. He cut across and got an important fist in. And they get some movement out of half back now North through Stevens. Looking for the target of Will Dawson, and it's off hands. We'll have a boundary throw in left half forward for the Swans, who lead by 31 points. We are 16 minutes into the third term, down to Phil Pryor.
Yeah, Jack Darling's now back on the bench for North Melbourne. Still looking uncomfortable with that right eye concern that has led to reasonably extensive conversations involving the North Melbourne Docs, but it does appear as though he's about to come back on.
Swans by 31. Clearance, George Wardlaw. High kick along the outer side. Down to a 2-on-2. Ricochet's down here for Zach Banch. Awkward pick up for Larkey, but does go inside 50 by foot to Zerha. Tumbling grab in the contest with Rampy. And Cam Zerha, who's in transition to defence, and now back forward again through most of this game. We'll take a set shot from 35 out on the 45-degree angle.
Look, it's a big kick for the Kangaroos, isn't it? You talked about the Swans missing a few of those opportunities, and one here against the Tide can really kind of get momentum going, and the lead obviously still not big enough to put the game to bed.
8 goals, 11 on the year, of course, owing to his defensive transition. He kicks from 40 out here, Cam Zerha. Beautiful looking set shot from deep in that right forward pocket. And that key goal, as Joel Pat will describe for North Melbourne, does come to fruition. So 7-6-48 North. They trail the Swans who are 10-13-73 at the 18-minute mark of this third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Joel Patfull and Ryan O'Keefe.
We're just looking ahead. The Swans sometimes have these issues where their inaccuracy in front of goal is costing them. And looking forward to the finals, they're going to have to make the most of every opportunity they get. So they've got to really just sort of, I don't know whether it's a lack of care or composure in front of goal. Some have been a set shot. Some have been those hurried snaps where they could probably settle down and do drop punts. But this inaccurate goal kicking is going to hurt them come finals time. So it's something they just got to really fix. It can be an issue they've had in the past, which they really need to correct.
An important 7.5 minutes coming up in this football game now before three-quarter time. Swans lead by 25 points. North kick a couple more for the final change. They'll rate themselves a decent chance to pinch this game. If the Swans can find a way to extend that margin back out to around 6 goals, they should be okay. Another ball up. Cleary tries to emerge from the contest. Sullivan wins an important hard ball. Got it out to McDonald. Here go North again by hand to Wardlaw. Deep kick into attack. Zerha the target. Just kicked one a moment ago. Rampy with a strong tackle on him, but Zerha kept his feet. And we'll have a ball up in the right forward pocket. That was a nice contest between two hard men in the competition. And in fact, Zerha's pinged for holding the ball. That might be a little bit stiff.
Oh, because he had the one arm out.
He
did. The ball out. That's when they pin you for that
Strong
one.
tackle by Rampy. Swans lead by 25 points.
Rampy sends it deep beyond defensive 50. All too deep was the kick for Grundy. Vitoli in the contest with Parker. Wins the ground ball. And his kick to find Roberts, who was out at the boundary line, was Vitoli initially. So we'll throw it back in front of the O'Reilly stand on the eastern side of the SCG. 25 points the home side's lead here as we approach time on in this third quarter. Grundy in the contest with Will Dawson. Players surrounding it. Goulden sweeps a hand pass forward. Simpkin brought it down with a Campbell tackle. And again, the umpire says, give it to me, between wing and half forward at the Randwick end, which is where the Swans are attacking to. And they lead by 25.
Grundy looking for Sheldrick by the ruck tap. Well done by O'Sullivan to lock it in. So another ball up. Plenty of stoppages in this game so far. Swans leading by 25 points, but there goes Errol emerging with it, leading the way again in this undermanned, to say the least, Swans midfield. Well done by Mills to win it in the middle of the ground. Handball to forward looking for Sheldrick. Picked off by Stevens. Now North can go again. Curtis, he's always dangerous. Loops the handball over the top. Puts it out in front of Stevens, who made sure he made another contest for him. Went back to McDonald, who chips it forward to Spargo. 60 out from goal. Spargo completely loses the handle on the football. Poor turnover. Gathered by Cleary. Puts it out in front of Hanley. Long ball into attack, looking for Sarong. One-on-one with Logue. Sarong gathers it nicely. Good second effort from Logue. Ball spills free. Tackle comes from Core on Green. Now Gota. Handball forward. They still can't clear the area, North. And that's a free kick against Cleary. Ineffective disposal. Holding the football against him. Nice tackle by Parker. Swans' 25-point lead is maintained 21 minutes into the third term.
Parker, we called this ground home for a long time. Cede some ground here. Back to fullback for Griffin Logue. Past the 100 games mark earlier this year from Rio Docker. And now Gota takes a tumbling mark at left half-back. So 2 goals, 1 North Melbourne to 1 goal, 6 the Swans in this third term so far. Gota's kick, I think the sit down there is Dawson, falls to Trembath. Now Wardlaw, underground hand pass here as Spargo wraps up Cootie. Loose ball pounced on by Goulden, off to Campbell here for the Swans. Deep to full forward, held was Sarong by Logue. And that's what the home fans are thinking anyway. It's punched over for a throw-in. A 4:50 stoppage for the Swans at the Randwick end, and they lead by 25 points at the 22-minute mark of this third quarter.
We've got Sarong playing deep forward, coming out of the goal square, so that's probably a position. He's played most positions this year. I don't think we've seen him play there yet.
North Melbourne just trying to hang on late in this third term. Grundy takes it clean out of the ruck. Handball backwards. Goulden did brilliantly to keep his feet under incredible pressure. And then gather the football for possession number 28. They go deep into attack now, Sydney. Punched away from the contest by Comben. Roberts couldn't gather it. Good pressure on him. Things have lifted now. Well done, Zach Banch. I think both teams can tell that this is a very important part of the game. Swans would love another one before three-quarter time. North is trying to hang on here to keep within reach.
Sydney by 25. Up it goes. Grundy passes it down the direction. And Sheldrick turns away from Ronald Tuckle. Snaps to the left here. Sheldrick curls it around a little too far. On a score for the Swans. So that's 10-14-74 now. To 7-6-48. Margin is 26 points.
And they've turned it over terribly from the back pocket straight to Matt Roberts of North Melbourne. The kick came from Stevens. Roberts gets it back now. In the left forward pocket, centering ball. Punched away from Hanley. Will it sit up for Detoli? On his left, Jesse Detoli. Another behind for the Swans in this term. So what are we at now?
Keep peppering them.
Scores. It's 1-8. 10-15-75. Sydney lead by 27 points, but 1-8 for the quarter. North Melbourne 2-1.
We're in a classic third term by any means for either of these sides, especially the Swans. Down the corridor, Stevens marks at centre-half back for North Melbourne. And now Luke Davies-Uniacke coming off 34 disposals. Last time these sides met, round 9 at Docklands. Chip it away to the outer side. Finn O'Sullivan. All to play on. Coleman at centre-half back, and they'll switch here back to this member's side. Meanwhile, Carlton beat Adelaide by 27 points in the AFLW. Port v Hawthorn coming up to close round 2. Speaking of closing, Wicks came late there on Wardlaw. We'll keep it alive though. Logue sends it inside forward 50. 2-on-2. Zahar up in front. Dallings at the back. Rampy mops up in defence for the Swans and tackled out over the boundary line by Trembath. And that will be holding the ball. Yes, it will be. So Trembath will have the set shot here from deep in the left forward pocket.
He's been red hot on the Swans in this quarter. I don't know what how passed the ball, didn't he?
I think he got a hand to it, but this is a big kick really in the context of the game. If they can put one through here, keeps them within range.
Kicked 3 goals against the Cats last week. Trembath on the snap. He's got it. And Trembath joins the goal kickers list for Alistair Clarkson's men, and they close the gap here at North Melbourne to what is 21 points. So 8-6-54 the Kangaroos. The Swans are 10-15-75. They've played 25 minutes in this third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport with Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull.
He didn't quite get a hand to it, did he? He was just got him in time. It was a good tackle by Trembath, who hasn't done much today, but we talked about how important that is. The Swans have just kicked point after point, and just, 1 or 2 goals there, you almost put the game to bed at this crucial time. But North Melbourne, to their credit, they've kept finding a way. They're actually finding a few more holes in that Swans defence. They're controlling the footy a bit more, kick mark. They've been able to work their way up the ground, and a good finish there by Trembath that gets them back in range.
Yeah, the last 2 shots on goal being accurate, so that's nothing beats scoreboard pressure, and that's what the Kangaroos are doing.
And it just gets a little bit eerie again around the SCG as a result. North Melbourne back in this game. The Swans punch it forward a couple of times after the ball up. Wardlaw under pressure inside defensive 50. A chance for Sydney to strike back. Lloyd to Hanley. Now Goulden to Papley on a tight angle. 45 out across the face. Off hands, and well done by Comben to see it over. What will be a boundary throw in right next to the behind post The Swans deep in attack, up by 21 points.
Swans are appealing for a deliberate out of bounds, which I don't understand. He's hit it directly there, and it's gone out of bounds. So how's that not deliberate? Wow.
Swans by 21. Umpire chucks it back in. Out of the right, Grundy lost it into the path of Simpkin, and North can clear through their former skipper. Bounced away from Rampy. Paddled away by Darling. And now O'Sullivan does well here for North Melbourne. Trembath gets it back to O'Sullivan. Works it forward now. Zach Banch run down from behind. Great chase from the veteran Dane Rampy. It's the man. Some years he's junior. And Dane Rampy. Game number 287 with the chasing pressure act here. They go inside defensive 50 for Hamling, and I'll switch across to another veteran in Harry Cunningham. Among the 5 inclusions for the Swans this afternoon.
Dane Rampy has lost 4 grand finals. Penny for his thoughts this week as he chased a premiership before he bids farewell to AFL football. Still fighting on. It was a brilliant moment. Key one perhaps in this game as Swans go forward. It wasn't a great kick though from Harry Kyle. The mark has been taken by Comben. Just inside the boundary line, left half back for North. We're ensuring that this will be an intriguing final term to say the least. Only down by 21 points. It's still time for them to surge into attack. Off hands and wrapped up on the wing though is O'Sullivan. An important stoppage here with 30 seconds to go until the final change.
Grundy versus Sherry. Down to the outside, Simpkin at this stoppage. Fires the hand pass back here for Hardiman. Dumps down there in a strong Hanley tackle. And now O'Sullivan fighting for it as well. Sarong cleverly taps it down to Grundy. Up against the line, Rowbottom, and now Goulden's kick is marked by Hardiman, who got to his feet and intercepts here for North Melbourne. At left half back, and they'll use these final seconds of the third term to just chip it away inside the defensive 50. And that will be three-quarter time here as day becomes night at the Sydney Cricket Ground. The Swans lead by just 21 points after a wasteful third term. 1 goal, 8 for the home side, as against North Melbourne's 3 goals, 1. So they've 8-6-54 the Kangaroos. The Swans are 10-15-75. Goals in the game so far. 2 for Billy Cootie. Singles to Natoli, Curnow, Papley, Campbell, Lloyd, Hanley, Cleary and Logan McDonald. Meanwhile, for North Melbourne, it's all individuals so far across their 8 majors to Spargo, Curtis, Zerha, Trembath, Darling, Simpkin, Larkey got on the board in that third term, and Zach Banch as well, also for the Kangaroos, who are not going away just yet in their final game of campaign 2026. The Swans by 21 points at three-quarter time across ABC Radio, News Radio and ABC Listen. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
One of Australia's most recognisable broadcasters is facing the biggest battle of his life. Alan Jones has pleaded not guilty to multiple historical sexual assault charges, and now the case is before the courts.
I'm not going to dwell here on the allegations made about me, other than to say that I refute them entirely.
As witnesses step into the box and the evidence unfolds, the Case Log podcast will be your eyes and ears inside the courtroom. Search the Case Log podcast on ABC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Send a looping handball forward to Campbell in game 100. He'll just centre it. The mark is taken by Cootie. Braden Campbell, game 100, with a laser-like pass. Billy Cootie can have a shot for his second goal from 15 out in a slight angle to the right. Waltzes in and kicks his second.
Spargo inside forward 50. Lucky, a strong grab. Got the better of McCartan. North Melbourne skipper marks 45 from goal in the right forward pocket. North Melbourne's on-field leader. Crosses the 50, the right forward pocket, and just steers this through. Lucky on the board. Does go inside 50 by foot to Zerha. Tumbling grab in the contest with Rampy. Zerha, who's transitioned to defence and now back forward again for most of this game. Will take a set shot from 35 out on the 45-degree angle. Beautiful looking set shot. Deep in that right forward pocket.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
The Swans by 21 points here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Three-quarter time in what is the Swans' last assignment of season 2026, the home and away season. That is ahead of finishing second, where, of course, they'll have the best possible path to the grand final, albeit it's become muddy and treacherous this week with the fallout from Monday morning in Melbourne with 5 players, of course, issued that club suspension. And North Melbourne, of course, will say farewell to Alistair Clarkson's 4th year in charge, chasing their 10th win, which would be their best finish since 2019. Up next, we're off to Perth Stadium for the West Coast Eagles and Hawthorn, the very last game of the 26 home and away season. You'll hear that, of course, with Clint Wheeldon, Mitch Turner, Chris Waterman and Sharad Wellingham, as well as a cash voter, and that will be where things finish up. Of course, Hawthorn can still improve their position on the AFL ladder. The Hawks, of course, can finish either 3rd or 4th, depending on the margin there against the West Coast Eagles. So around about 90 points or so. I'm sure the boys will keep you right across it once it all unfolds there at Perth Stadium, the West Coast Eagles and Hawthorn. If they are not to improve their position, then, well, you never know. Garvey was discussing, the potential of West Coast winning. Maybe. If they don't win by 90, then things will stay as is with the top 4 matchups. I beg your pardon. Hawthorn would get into 4th, and the Swans would play Brisbane here at the SCG in 2 weeks' time. Anyway, I love this time of year. Swans by 21 points. Our experts here at the SCG are Jared Schofield. Not him. He's not even...
I'll take over.
Right okay for Joel Patfull.
I know it's been a big week. It's been a lot to talk about. But I think the first 5 or 6 minutes of this quarter is going to be critical. The Swans really dominated. Like, if they kicked straight, this game would be over. But the Kangaroos were efficient when they went forward. Again, late in the quarter, they kicked a couple of goals to sort of peg it back. So I think this, first stanza of this quarter is going to be really, really important to see how this game, whether we're going to get a game and a bit of an exciting finish, or the Swans are just going to run away with it. So what I do notice is with this sort of lowered level of talent running out there is just the ball use, the efficiency for both teams, really. It's from what I've seen from North Melbourne, I can't see them playing finals next year unless they're missing one really good player. Who else are they missing? Unless they get some different cattle or more, or there's serious improvement out of their own playing crop here. It doesn't look like a finals team on the march.
They haven't shown much, have they?
No.
They haven't shown much. I mean, talk about they've been dominated. I mean, inside 50s, 51 to 30, contested possession minus 20. So they're just key parts of the game that they just haven't been good enough against a second-tier team. So if they're serious about playing finals and serious about what this footy club looks like moving forward, they need to do something in this last quarter. Get that momentum going forward. I know it doesn't mean anything in terms of their season, but give us something to look forward to. Show us what you're about. It starts here.
Alistair Clarkson rallies his team for one last time in season 2026. A few numbers, Daniel Gard, for three-quarter time.
Errol Goulden, 30 touches. Mills, 23. Grundy, 21. 9 tackles for James Rowbottom. For North, Parker, Daniel, O'Sullivan, all on 18. Sherry and Wardlaw, 17. 9 players in this North team have played every game this season. Only 1 for Sydney after the changes this week. The margin's only 21 points. Big final term coming up. Here's Brett Sprigg.
Grundy palms it down here. Lloyd wrapped up by Stevens, dispossessed, and now gathered by Luke Davies-Uniacke for North Melbourne. Shares it with Simpkin. Lays off the hand pass back to LDU. Beats the tackle of Lloyd. Hand pass back to Daniel. Now Hardiman to Stevens on the outer side. Sweeps it forward for Simpkin. Quarter of halfway go North Melbourne, and Simpkin's kick is wasteful, out of bounds on the full after a reasonable build-up from that centre clearance. We'll be back here for a Sydney Swans ball at right half back. The home side leads by 21.
They send it up to the wing. Curnow does well to win front position. Well done by Cleary to gather it at ground level, but he's left it behind. The handball from Northo was a bit too hot, and Campbell was able to gather it. Lloyd helps him out. Shares it with Cleary up to half forward. McDonald couldn't take the mark. Ball stays in for a moment, eventually goes out. Just outside attacking 50 for the Swans. So big final term. The week would have been draining mentally for Sydney, of course, and we know their depth has been tested in a huge way. Can North find a way to make this really tight finish. They go deep into attack with the Swans. Well done, Curtis. Doing some strong defensive work and then caught holding the ball. Had one arm free. That's a really tight call. And Billy Cootie, who's done some excellent work in attack, will now kick for his third.
Well, these
straight in front.
These two are teammates in the juniors, both of the Western Jets players.
Billy Cootie for his third goal, an important one for Sydney. The margin out to 27 points. And Cootie has had a really good game. And that was a strong tackle. Didn't have much time, Curtis, but he did have one arm free.
And that's the ruling for the whole. If you can get that, if you got the one arm free, see, he's got the ball in that free arm. You got to.
So what are you meant to do with the one arm though?
Throw it.
Just throw it, but then it's a throw. So.
Yeah, or get on the boot. At least that is a black and white interpretation. It's not you got the ball arm free, regardless. I don't know what you meant to do with it. At least you can go, okay, that's a free kick.
I don't know if it's black and white. It's getting harder and harder because if he's got one arm free and he tries to kick it, he also then is in trouble for getting a sling tackle because he's off balance and he gives up his position of power. So it's a whole thing, isn't it? Where do you go?
27 points, the Sydney Swans lead. 3 goals and counting for Billy Cootie, who's, as I said, unbeaten in his first 8 career games before today. Grundy's kick slews off the side of his boot, falls to Wardlaw of North Melbourne. Hand pass chopped off by Roy. Now Goulden gets involved as well. Roberts lost his footing there for the Swans, gathered by Luke McDonald of the Kangaroos, and now Parker off a couple of steps out in the direction of Sherry. Waste no time with a hand pass. Simpkin loads up, centering ball here, 3-on-2. Larkey wins it down here. Spargo just tumbles it in the goal square, mopped up easily by Jake Floyd, playing goalkeeper for the Swans. Shared it here to Goulden, slick hands off to McCartan, and the Swans can rebound.
McCartan up to the wing. Combat and McDonald, strong mark. Logan McDonald under serious pressure. That's an excellent grab. Swans faithful appreciate that. Only poor missed opportunity from Spargo though a moment ago. Far out, just didn't get any purchase on the football. The goal's wide open. There's Goulden's kick. He's a little bit scrappy. Not often you say that about him. His 33rd disposal. He tumbles over for a throw-in just inside attacking 50 for the Swans, who lead by 27 points, 3.5 minutes into the final term.
Will he get to 40? You get another 7.
47 last week. 1,000 metres gained 2 weeks in a row for Errol Goulden. Grundy down the path of Papley, breaks a tackle, goes off the outside of the boot from 35 out. Papley missing near side. I thought he had it. It wasn't. 11-16 the Swans, 8-6-54 the Kangaroos. Margin 28 till this stage of final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sports.
What they have done well is they're really good at that ground level, and these small forwards, they've been winning these contests, just not finishing the work.
Swans going to back in attack. Campbell to Sarong. Here goes Errol, 30 out, straight in front. He's just sprayed it across the face. Another chance to make it very difficult for North goes begging. 29 points they lead by. Goulden's 34th touch though. So his last month, 41, 34, 39, 47. And he's gaining on 40 disposals here at the SCG.
Stevens lays off the hand pass for Parker. Kicks out the direction of Hardiman. Goes bounding off half-back here for North Melbourne. But Wicks drops back in the section here for the Swans. The right half-back for him. And on Mark McDonald, that's Logan for the Swans. Goulden again receives a hand pass.
He's going to get 50.
Kick the half forward on the bounce there for Papley. Turns 55 out, goes to full forward. Kerno in the contest down there with Core. Now brought down without the football. Roberts in the tackle of Comben. Gathered here by Luke McDonald now for North Melbourne. Kyle for the Swans. Kicks out of bounds on the full. So just end-to-end stuff here and no scoring, and not a great quality contest this early in the final term. Swans by 29. Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, interestingly, Swans captain Callum Mills has started this fourth term on the bench, but I suppose that's one way of making sure he's on the ground for the last 15 minutes.
Ball in dispute on the wing. Darling is wrapped up. Grabs the football and then runs straight to the interchange bench. Zach Banch comes on for him, half his size. And, in terms of experience, well, they pale into comparison. Jack Darling, 341 games. Zach Banch just the 12. 342 in fact for Darling. Another stoppage on the wing. Swans by 29 points. Sheldrick dumped by Sherry in the tackle. It was slightly dangerous, and Grundy doesn't like that. Sheldrick's really slow to get to his feet, and that might be looked at from Tristan Sherry. In the meantime, Papley gathers it at centre-half forward. Handball to Campbell. Standing start on his left. Deep into attack. It might bounce through. It does. Well, they were jostling in the goal square. Kerno and Core, and the ball just bounced behind Core and took a sharp turn the other way and went through. Well, goal by Campbell, the second in his 100th game. Swans out to a 35-point lead.
Well, if he can't kick any conventional goals, we'll just kick one with an off break. Been watching the test match up in Mackay. That's a very unorthodox goal. But look, as I said, I think the Smalls have been really dominant for the Swans today. They've been up and about. They've been quite busy, and I think going forward, if they're going to go with this sort of lineup, these smaller forwards up to quasi midfielders are just got to be relentless on their pressure, their ground ball gets, and be able to just keep going and going for the whole game. I'd love for a few of them just to be a little bit more polished with their foot skills. And I think that's a bit of a theme for the young players in the Swans. Like you've seen Harry Kyle, they're great athletes, they're great competitors, they just can't quite finish and be a bit classy by foot.
Voice of Norm Smith medalist Ryan O'Keefe. Swans by 35. Grundy wins it out of the ruck. Quick clearance. Mopped up by Logan defence. Dispossessed somehow. Bouncing ball. Kerno snaps on the run from 20. Misses. Near side. The Coleman medalist elect, as Garvey described him. Looking for his third Coleman medal of his career. And of course, his first in his first year at Sydney. Swans by 36.
Parker's kick misses the mark, but importantly, Banch gets a touch on it, so we'll have a boundary throw in just forward of the wing for the Swans. Saw Joel Amati on the big screen a moment ago. I was in the lift with him up to the media area for the game, and naturally said, have you dealt with the week? And he said, I'm just happy there's a football game now. Something else to think about. It's probably how the majority of Swans players were feeling.
You ask him if he's staying here next year?
Didn't get into that deep of a conversation between level 1 and level 7. As Campbell, in fact, Totoli gathers it at half forward, and the mark is taken by Papley. It was touched, in fact, so play on the call. And Griffin Logue wraps Papley up. We'll have a ball up just inside 50. Swans now leading by 36 points, 8.5 in the last term.
Grundy palms it down, snatched away by Totoli. Roberts puts the Swans back inside 50. Spoiled away by Hardiman. Lloyd down here for Kerno. Off to Kyle, who can snap from 35 out. And Harry Kyle has a goal. His very first of his career. So Harry Kyle brings the SCG to life. In an otherwise pretty lacklustre final term, the Swans are out to a new game-high lead of 42 points. 13-18-96. They had 31 scoring shots to 14. North for 8-6-54. 9.5 gone on this. And there's Callum Mills revving up the crowd as well. Raising both arms, pumping the fists, acknowledging that this has been a slog of a week, to put it mildly, for the Swans organisation and their fans. And Callum Mills, the skipper, revving up not just his players but the fans surrounding him here at the SCG. The Swans by 42 down to Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, off comes a battered and bruised Angus Sheldrick after that incident a few minutes ago, which Brodie Grundy didn't appreciate. He did play on. He does appear A-OK, but just involved in the tough stuff today, Angus Sheldrick for the Swans.
How was the joy from Charlie Kerno after Harry Kyle kicked that goal? He's got 380 goals to his name. Absolutely delighted with Harry Kyle's first. Swans by 42 points. North going to attack, though. Lovely kick from Davies Uniacke. And Zerha now back inside attacking 50. Out in the lead, taking that mark on his chest. And he'll have a shot from 40 out. Slight angle to the right. Needs to kick this to give North just the faintest of hope. Cameron Zerha. Only 8 goals for the season. Spent a lot of time in defence. And he's managed to guide that through. Makes the goal umpire work. So there's a pulse for North. 36 points the Swans lead. 13-18-96. North Melbourne 9-6-60. That's their first goal of the final term. But
you wouldn't know there's a pulse by the way they celebrated that. Like that was the difference. And this is what I probably think of the character of the Swans. Their spirit's been very good, and they've been supporting each other. And you can just see when Harry Kyle kicks his first goal, they all get up. Callum Mills pumping the crowd up. There's character and spirit there from the players out there. So that's really, really good signs. compared to, like, we're trying to get in the game and win. It's like, oh, you kicked the goal, whatever. Like, that's the difference between the clubs.
It probably sums them up, doesn't it? And even Zerha in particular, like, he's been back, he's been forward, hasn't really had an influence over the game. He's one of your senior players. He needs to set the standard. It couldn't have been more stark.
Crowd figure, by the way, did crack 30, so 30,058. It's a middling sort of crowd, but again, this team has 2 home finals to come. As you said, junior finals today in Sydney. I don't know if there's, sort of a widespread statement made by fans between the AFLW and AFL men's games. As North go inside 50 again, Hamlin off to Mills. Stevens intercepts it here for North, runs into the tackle of Rowbottom and brought down 55 from goal. Randwick ends. Going to Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, Swans ruck Brodie Grundy has come off, at least for a breather. I just wonder if we'll see him again with, 12 minutes already elapsed in this final term.
Q in the rack, the Swans who lead by 36 points.
I'll be looking at now resting Grundy. Curnow, I'll be bringing him off. Like, top high-end players of a rarity now. They've got to make sure they can try and nurse them through and get it for the finals.
Off to West Coast v Hawthorn next at Perth Stadium. Clint Wilden and the crew. The final home and away game of the season 2026. Will Green, so he's the tall who's out there in Grundy's stead. Goes inside 50. Patley spills it, can't mark. Off here to Cleary, 45 from goal. Pulls it short in the pocket for Curnow. And Curnow has paid the mark. And it was a sprawling effort. And there's that sort of heart-in-mouth stuff where late in the game, you don't want Charlie Curnow taking a tumble into the signage.
And this Cleary, I reckon he's worked really hard this game, but you just see his kicking skills just off like that. That should have been just an easy lace out on the chest there. It made him work super hard for that.
A few North fans, I think, are saying that as well. And they've had a look at the replay.
He's not happy. There's North supporter on the fence.
No, they've let it stand here with the Charlie Curnow mark. So just the one goal this afternoon, Charlie Curnow, before he embarks on a finals campaign with his new club. And on the snap, left foot snap misses near side. 13-19-97, plays 9-6-60. So that's now, we'll say 32 scoring shots to 15 for a 37-point lead.
Don't know about that. He's getting paid $1 million to kick goals, that bloke. And he's kicked that. Thoughts?
Turnover here. Lloyd to Campbell. Chips it over the top. Curnow with another chance. Has taken the mark. Well, the attention from Griffin Logue, his opponent, wasn't quite there. One's up by 37, and Charlie Curnow will have a shot at another from 10 out on the slide angle.
I'll be icing him now after this, get him off. Like him, Grundy. It's too important now.
Yeah.
With the playing group they got for these top senior players to have something going in some dead rubber game if they're going to work.
Curnow has his second. 2-4 for the afternoon. Importantly for Sydney, the lead is out to 43 points. And surely that seals things up, and maybe it is smart now to get the likes of Grundy, Curnow, Goulden, Mills on the bench for extended periods, considering the quality they've lost this week. 14-19-103 the Swans. North Melbourne 9-6-60 down to Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, Swans midfielder James Rowbottom just jogged off. Brett Kirk, the runner, handed him the phone, which obviously goes up to the coaches, and I get the feeling he was just congratulated for his 11 tackle industrious effort today. Getting some praise perhaps.
Yeah, amazing effort. So 30,000 the crowd. The average of the season for the Swans is 36,000 at home. So it's down a bit, but it is a dead rubber. And there were some fans who would have chosen to stay away after the events of this week. So not terrible, but a little bit lower than they would have liked.
Swans by 43. These twilight conditions late on Sunday afternoon. Clearance. Cleary. Sarong goes inside forward 50 with his kick. Spilled by Comben. Mopped up by Detoli. Cleared a path for Goulden, who was taken high by Wardlaw. The umpire was all over it as far as a potential dropping of the knees and says we'll ball it up instead. 48 from the Swans attacking goal. Paddington end of the ground. 16 gone final term. Heading west next for West Coast v Hawthorn, which you can hear, of course, uninterrupted via ABC Listen, our trusty app. Just look for the ABC AFL button. Up it goes again. Sherry beats Green. Hand pass picked off though by Detoli. And now Cootie tries again. Runs into some trouble in the form of Banch. Griffin Logue's hand pass cut off by Goulden. His kick not effective though. Bounced out of play. in the left forward pocket for the Sydney Swans. The home side leads here at the SCG by 43 points.
Once again, it's that forward pressure, wasn't it? Cootie, he's been great all day today, forcing that turnover, not giving the North defenders any sort of easy exit, even late in the game.
Errol Goulden, 36 touches, 895 metres gained, about 300 or so metres more than any other player on the ground. Simpkin clears defensive 50. Larkey does well on the wing. He's been really quiet today. Well beaten by Tom McCartan. Nick Larkey. Found Wardlaw though. Sends it towards half forward. Well done scrapping away there opposed to Darling. It was Joel Hamling to win that ball after falling to the ground. Now Cunningham gathers it in defensive 50. The handball to Campbell. He's been really sharp. Bounces off a couple of would-be tacklers. Back on his left. Sends it out to Cleary on the wing. In fact, it's Cootie to Grundy and now Goulden. Possession number 38 for Errol is a beauty. Curnow out on the lead. Errol loved that. He has led the way yet again. Without his usual friends in there in Heaney and Warner in the midfield.
Should we do it like the All-Australian and just not count the last quarter and just give the votes out now?
So Curnow will kick for his third from 35 out. Slightly worse than a 45-degree angle to the left. To make it 49 points for the Swans. Charlie Curnow swings it around and through. His third goal and 69th of the season. A third Coleman medal is his. And now the Swans can enjoy themselves late on a Sunday afternoon after a week from hell.
So I know we've got the finals to come, but you think from the Swans' perspective, getting Charlie Curnow this year has been a success. He's won the Coleman. Everyone bagged it at the start of the year, and he was a bit trying to find his feet. And it was always going to take time to gel in a new club and a new ball movement and everything from what he's been so used to. But surely everyone have to go, this has been a great recruit for the club.
I think so. I think the scary thing about it is that he's been good, but he hasn't been amazing. So there's still so much upside in what he could do out here in this team. So obviously that's a big improvement for him next year. And to kick 69 goals from a year where he did have a slow start, he's getting used to the team is a huge effort.
And how's that celebration? Ran over to Errol Goulden's left foot and just started polishing it.
On the restart, have a run by Simpkin of the Kangaroos, picked off by Cleary of the Swans. Out in space for Hanley, back to Roberts. This is slick stuff from the Swans. Deep inside 50. Curnow's in the contest with Logue. Second, third bite, reaching for it. At the drop, Daniel. Hand pass off here to Stevens, brought down in the tackle of Detoli, and will ball up. So as it currently stands, he's Gunston's 15 goals behind. Tracy's not playing. He's playing Freo anyway, isn't he? He didn't play this week. West Coast v Hawthorn coming up. So just with Jack Gunston, Nick Watson to play, but Charlie Curnow's got a pretty handsome lead on those two final challenges for the Coleman medal, to the tune of some 15 goals.
Get him off.
Rowbottom bursting through traffic here. Lost the footy up against Caleb Daniel, and again will ball up about 40 out from attacking goal for the Swans, who lead by 49 points as we approach time on here in this final term.
Jake Waterman needs 21 goals. I might kick 21 behind. The goals would be unlikely. Sorry, Jake. Had a great season despite the inaccuracy. Campbell to Rowbottom. Roberts running off him. Well tackled by Simpkin. He tried to have a shot on goal. Spills free. Zerha under pressure. Daniel, that's Caleb Daniel, does nicely. Northbound by 49 points, trying to get something going. Handball forward from Spargo to McDonald. Great chase from Jake Lloyd. That's got to be holding the ball. The umpire fell over, but still saw what happened.
That was an amazing move by the umpire. He fell over, back rolled, and got the holding the ball.
Umpire Curtis Du Bois, if you don't mind. Hand pass Cunningham to McCartan. Goes inside forward 50. To Tolley in the contest with McKercher. Comes to ground level. Logue squeezes it out there. O'Sullivan tackled by Curnow. Hootie out from goal. Umpire says it's locked in for a ball up. Curtis Du Bois. That was a great acrobatics there. What a great Curtis Du Bois story, actually. Well, he's an SA-based umpire. Here's Caden Cleary off to Bowen, who has a shy goal here. Picked up by Coleman at full-back, and this will go just into the hands of Parker. Mark is paid there for the Kangaroos at right half-back.
This has been really poor from North, it must be said. Controlled by 49 points, such a heavily undermanned Sydney side. Simpkin gets it back from bench and kicks to half forward. Swans have brought the energy, redeemed a lot of pride as Wicks tracks it back in defensive 50. Gathered by Darling. Now Spargo does well to keep his feet, but there are Sydney players all around him. Eventually gets some help from Will Dawson, who centres it, and that is brilliant attack on the football. Deep in defence by Hanley, who has left Stevens worse for wear. Slow to get to his feet, but he's punched that through for a rush behind from 20 out, and he came from 20 metres away to impact the contest. That sums up Sydney today, leading by 48 points deep in the last term.
And that's what I've heard, what type of player he is. Yeah, big country, hard, tough player, plenty of go in him. So that's obviously, we're just seeing what he brings, tough at the contest.
So Dylan Stevens being assessed on field here for a moment. Just quickly, by the way, Curtis Du Bois, I've told this story for a while. He was umpiring the SANFL Grand Final years ago as a young umpire, and he won the halftime raffle, which was a house and land package. Won a brand new house. He was umpiring. He went to the umpire, came out and said, "Mate, you've won this. Are you mentally okay? Because you had this life-changing thing. You won a free house at this raffle."
Drop the whistle.
And he saw out the game, apparently. So that was Curtis Du Bois' origin story out of South Australia. Dylan Stevens, speaking of South Australians, coming from the field here. Actually, he's not going to say, is he? Anyway, coming from the field for the Kangaroos toward the bench, down towards you, Phil Pryor.
Yeah, that's right, Spriggy. Charlie Curnow, he has made his way from the field. 22 minutes gone. Surely he has seen his last piece of action because, of course, the likes of Brodie Grundy, now even Tom Papley, have gone back out there.
I digress. Stevens for Mildura via Norwood. So there we go. All yours, Galby.
It's with Hamling, left half back. Shares it by hand with Lloyd. And a nice mark. Caden Cleary.
He's had a good game, Kate. As I said, this is probably the best game I've seen him play.
Yeah, plenty of energy. 15 disposals and a goal. And he's trying to take this opportunity that's been handed to him. Goes forward to Will Green. He marks it centre half forward. And then a free kick going the way of McDonald, is it? Yes. Held in that contest. And Logan McDonald will have a pretty easy shot from 15 out. Slight angle to the left for his second goal to bring the margin beyond 50 points.
I'm going to make a bold statement here. Will Green, in 2 to 3 years max, is going to be the number one ruckman in the comp.
Whoa, hang on.
That's a big call.
That's a very big call.
I'm going to put those bold predictions out. The way he moves for a player his size, his skill, covers the ground. Once he gets some physicality, he's going to be amazing.
Well, he was a first-round draft pick as McDonald comes in and slots this to Bees for his second. 54 points the Swans lead by. They are hammering North Melbourne now. 16-19, 115. North 9-7, 61. So what a lifter this is for the Swans. He is a first-round draft pick, so that shows he's got that sort of talent. But you'll still have Luke Jackson running around. Cooper Duff-Tytler was the number 4 pick, who's shown a bit. I like a bold call.
I said 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So I think he will be. I think if he'll just, the way he just moves for someone who's so early around for a guy that size.
Grundy's gone in 2 years. He's out.
Well, not out, but he's going to be 2 or 3 years. He's going to be number one ruckman.
Fair call.
Hey,
big call.
Going to make a bold prediction.
Third game today, Will Green. So
that's what I'm saying. It's a bold prediction. I think it will be. Let's.
Rhino keeps buying stocks in Will Green.
I will, like a house and land package.
54 points. So the Swans lead by 9 goals. Restart back in the middle. And it's chased here by what I'm up against. Davies Uniacke will come back for Trembath. Dispossessed here. O'Sullivan brought down by Billy Cootie. Down to you, Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, North Melbourne's Dylan Stevens is being ushered off the ground now, it would seem. Now, the body language, though, was reasonably positive before.
25 gone, final term. Slick hands here. Cootie off to Hanley from 45. Misses the left-hand side. 16-20. So you look at how much worse this could have been for North Melbourne. With 16-20 the Swans versus 9-7 the Kangaroos.
Well, they hung in there for a while, didn't they? Their defenders, and they battled away, but the damn wall was broken. 66 inside 50s to 34, so only 3 inside 50s for the Kangaroos in this quarter.
There's 21 points at three-quarter time. Of course, Mohini, Warner, Blakey. That's what they've dished up in the final term, North. Their final term of the season. The supporters would be really disappointed.
Well, it's through their midfield and their forward lines given nothing. Absolutely nothing tonight.
Swans by 55. What loomed as an even ball game.
Well, they're actually the favourites at one point, weren't they? The Kangaroos?
That's with McDonald, the veteran, left half forward. Let's look today, and Zerha takes the mark, and it's a strong mark out on the lead. Bounces off a couple of Swans on his way through. He'll have the shot from 50, 45 out, 45-degree angle to the left. It's looked at times as if they're just waiting for the season to end and they can go rest their bodies.
And that's not the statement you want to send to finish the year off. As I said, if this is their team missing Harry and I'm not sure what they're going to get us into, they are not playing finals if they're going to dish this up.
Yeah, they'll end on a flat note. Zerha, though, is kicking for his third. Switch back into attack. This one floats across the face, though. So through for a behind. 54 points Sydney lead by 16-20, 116, 9-8-62. And they will end what has been a horrible week on a reasonably high note and just give their fans a glimmer of hope that maybe they can cause a surprise in the finals.
Cunningham goes beyond offensive 50 here for the Swans. There's McDonald there. That's Logan for the Swans. Come back here for a free kick. North advantage paid. Now it's with the Kangaroos. Luke McDonald goes high inside forward 50, trying to find Zerha. Spoiled away by his opposite number in Lloyd. And now it comes back to Zerha and he fires it across the face. Trembar lets it drop there for young Zach Banch, who marks in the left forward pocket. So an opportunity here for North Melbourne late in the game at the SCG. And Zach Banch, who, as I said, debuted here just over a year ago, playing his 12th game today. He wastes no time. He does waste the kick, unfortunately for him. 9-9-63 North Melbourne trailing the Swans, who is 16-20, 116. Margin is 53 points the Swans' way.
Will Goulden on 38 disposals, looking for another 40-touch game. 4 minutes to go in this one. Leads all possession getters by 12, Errol. 939 metres gained, 9 inside 50s. And now you can hear the chant from the Swans faithful, that of Sydney, around the SCG. They have stepped out in support of their club in a week that has been as trying as it gets for a loyal fan. Rowbottom with the tackle on Caleb Daniel, his 12th tackle of the game. McKercher gathers it and moves around defensive 50, switches it to Logue. Now out to Comben. Swans by 53 points, and it is nice to hear for their players, the ones that have obviously managed to maintain their discipline out on the SCG today.
Going for North Melbourne, hand pass off to Banch, walks around Rampy, high towards left, full forward, and Larky snatches that out of the air. And the captain marks no more than 30 out from goal.
Bit of a trend for this game, isn't it? Kangas start to kick a couple of goals late in the quarter after the Swans have dominated 3/4 of each quarter.
He's chasing the half-ton today, Nick Larkey. 44 goals before today. Kicked one earlier in the game. Here he is lining up for number 2. Tough angle, left forward pocket, right footer. And he misses near side. So Kangaroos are 9-10-64. Trail the Swans to a 16-20, 116.
Still not a bad return for someone who's had so many issues, is it? 44 goals. Kicked a couple today, but just doesn't quite look up to the same standard as he did last year, does he?
Here's Goulden gathering it for possession number 39. And it's touched by Hanley. We'll have a boundary throw in. Right half back for the Swans. So they'll have the week off, a much needed one, you dare say, for everyone at the club. Just to rest and perhaps not do any media. Just let everything lie for a little bit and then get ready to step out against almost certainly the Brisbane Lions in a home qualifying final here at the SCG the week after. Cunningham, short to Rowbottom, up to the wing, and Luke Parker. Love to know his thoughts on everything that's transpired this week. Takes the mark on the wing for North.
But ask him, Pebs. Send him a text, let us know.
I could do that.
Here they go. North Melbourne through Luke McDonald on that left peg inside 50. Trembar crashes the pack. It falls to Zerha. Kicks into the back of Darling. Recovered by Banch. Larky. Back here now. Simpkin squaring ball. And he squares it as far as Jake Lloyd. The Swans veteran. He's second last season, you would think. Going around again next year. Goulden's out in space for his 40th touch. It'll come after a couple of bounces. Looks upfield on that famous left boot. Goulden, 40 disposals, goes inside 50. Logue spoils it out of bounds for a throw-in on this western side, which is where we find Phil Pryor on the boundary.
Yeah, for those wondering who the Swans did want to just put on ice a little bit early, we've got down there McCartan, Grundy, Mills and Curnow.
Probably asked Errol to come off and he said, nah, no chance.
I've got to get my 40.
Yeah, he's got his 40 and 1,048 metres gain now. Remarkable. Tottoli gathers it after the stoppage. Had a shot on goal, but it's high and towards the pocket. Off hands. McDonald will gather it inside the field of play. Sweeping handball for Errol Goulden. Possession number 41's a handball back to McDonald. Shares it with his good mate, who snaps it home from the pocket. McDonald's got 3. Set up by Goulden. And the Swans now lead by 58 points.
That was some terrible defending there by the Kangaroos. Absolutely, just let Logan McDonald. He's not a small lad. Just sort of waltz around and then run through and put no body, no. Yeah, it's very. I thought they'd give effort. That's probably the most disappointing thing I've sort of seen.
Well, it's just that defensive standard, isn't it? I mean, we talked about Goulden all day and him not being tagged, but he's just had his 40th possession on the wing and then jogged across and followed the ball and been by himself inside 50. So whether who's playing on him or just one person on the Kangaroos team to take some accountability and put a body on him or get close, and then obviously McDonald is the other one. He's actually got someone on him, but let him just run around and do what he pleases. So there's a few issues out there defensively as well.
It was 21 points late in the third term. It's now 58. Clearance Sydney through row one. It goes inside forward to 50. It just came off Campbell's chest, picked up by Logue of the Kangaroos. Shares it with Caleb Daniel. Back to Griffin Logue with a couple of steps, and now the hand pass. It missed Banch. Trembath, though, does pick it up off the deck here for North Melbourne. And McDonald, that's Luke for the North Melbourne side. Loses the tackle of Hanley. Back to Daniel, and now McKercher, who marks 45 from defensive goal.
McKercher with the big switch. It'll bounce and set up for Hardiman. Shocking way to finish the season for North Melbourne. He moves it forward to Simpkin. Has a bounce. Assesses his options in attack. Goes long to the top of the square. And Tristan Sherry has taken the mark. And Sherry will have a shot from 7 metres out straight in front for the epitome of a consolation for North.
Definitely is.
Battled hard against Grundy, though. Grundy's probably won the battle, would you say?
Yep. Grundy's been solid. You said, Sherry's had a solid game.
He pops it through for his 8th goal of the season, the margin 52 points in favour of Sydney. And the full-time siren is not too far away.
I think it's fair to say he's held his own against Grundy today. I don't think Grundy has been dominant. Neither Ruckman has really stood out too much, but he's battled away today, Sherry.
You can see the relief. Sorry, we're just looking at the Swans coaches box, and you can just see the relief of all the coaches, everyone involved. It's quite emotional.
Yep. On the bench as well.
And even before the game, we're down there, we were chatting to a couple of the players, and they were emotional. You can see their eyes starting to well up.
Standing ovation as well for those that have stuck around. Some have made their way back to the Paddington pubs, but those that are here, standing ovation for their Swans, who lead by 52 points. And Callum Mills appears emotional as well on the bench.
He's crying.
After the most turbulent week in this club's history, the number 2 seed hand in their last assignment of the home and away season. Jubilation for those remaining here at the SCG. But they've still got to prove that these Swans won't just be sitting ducks in the upcoming final series. The Swans salute to the tune of 52 points. The mark has been taken here by Logan McDonald on the full-time siren. And so as the embraces continue here on the bench, Brett Kirk, his arms around Callum Mills, who is visibly emotional, the Swans skipper, who his leadership has been tested this week. The Sydney chant rings around. McDonald shies on goal here. For his 4th, he misses. It doesn't matter. The applause rings out again. And the Swans see it through to the tune of 53 points here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Errol Goulden has his head in his hands as well. Emotional scenes here after the most challenging week in club history. The Swans get the win.
Shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in.
Fans sing it with gusto. I'm sure the players will very shortly as well. The Swans, with 18 wins on the home and away season, see it out here by 53 points. 17-21, 123 to North Melbourne, 10-70. Emotional scenes here at the end. The Swans led by 7 points at quarter time, by 26 at the major break, 21 at the final change. In the end, they run it out by 53.
Cheer, cheer the red and the white. Honour the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high. Shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
30,000 strong, the crowd here today. It's thinned out somewhat at this full-time siren, but they're certainly showing their pride. Still on their feet here, those in red and white at the Sydney Cricket Ground. In the end, 3 goals for the Coleman medalist at 26, Charlie Curnow. 3 goals each for McDonald and for Cootie. A couple for Braden Campbell in his 100th game. Singles to the Tolley, Papley, Hanley, Lloyd, Cleary. It was so impressive, Caden Cleary, and as was Billy Cootie, who I mentioned earlier. Harry Kyle with his first goal in AFL footy as well. North Melbourne had 2 goals through Cameron Zurhaar. Singles to Spargo, Larkey, Curtis, Banch, Trembath, Darling, Simpkin and Sherry. 53 points, the final margin here. The crowd 30,058. Ryan O'Keefe, Joel Patfull, Daniel Garb. We came here feeling like today would have been in some ways more than footy for what this organisation is experiencing. It's a tough thing to navigate, certainly for the players remaining on the field. How do you make sense of what's taken place here across these past 3 hours or so?
Well, for our listeners there, like watching some of the screens, the tears and the emotion in the players, the coaching group, it's been a huge week. You can see Rampy and Mills. The amount of credit and the amount of, how can I say it, admiration I've got for Callum Mills. He's a young man and he's been thrust into looking in front of the press around such a major topic and a sensitive issue, and the way he's been able to hold himself and deliver to what he's been peppered, like listening to some of those journos, some of the questions, just like he held his head, and I've got all the most respect for what he was able to do.
So the Swans team is now gathered in a huddle. Dane Rampy's in tears as well. These are remarkable scenes and emotional scenes. I've got to ask you, Ryan O'Keefe, I felt myself getting emotional looking at Callum Mills tearing up and Dane Rampy. You played for this football club with such distinction for so long. It has been brought to its knees this week. As a former player, a premiership player, how did that make you feel? I could hear your voice croaking a little bit as you spoke about Callum Mills. Emotionally, these scenes, what do they mean to you?
Oh, look, that's what I've said from probably during the call. The club is bigger than individuals, and you can see the bond and the club, and to be something that we created this, I'm saying, like myself and some of my ex-teammate, we created something when times like this happens, and it happens in all organisations. It's not what you do, it's how you bounce back. And to see the character, and as I said, I've got the utmost respect for Callum Mills and what he's been able to do, and his other team guys like Ramps, Jakey Lloyd have been there for such a long time. What this means for them, and for them to be able to do this, and to your point, the week off is absolutely critical, because they would have been running off emotion today, and to get through today, I think after that it's just going to wear. It just, under these sort of circumstances, it would just mentally drain, and they'll be exhausted now. And the week off is absolutely critical for this group. And then hopefully a few more things play out, and there's a lot more answers, and then we can sort of go forward.
Usually the week off is a footy thing, right? You get the distinction of finishing top 4, and in this case, of course, with a wild card next week, so positions 1 to 6 get the week off. But the reality is, it's everything else for this Sydney Swans organisation to get the week off. I understand that Phil Pryor will be in the Swans rooms where they'll sing the song very shortly. They've just dispersed the players here, and they'll share this with those that have stuck around here at the SCG. I understand the media access might be limited today to potentially just some all-in media conferences, which, I mean, you know, I understand it, certainly disappointing for us, but we'll get whatever reaction we can from the likes of Callum Mills and his team in the rooms post this 53-point win over North Melbourne.
Yeah, well, they couldn't have done much more, could they? The players that were out there today have been impressive, to say the least, and under such a tough circumstances, I think they've come out and performed and done everything they needed to do, really. They were challenged at times, obviously would have been emotionally drained, like we talked about as well, but to come out and to produce an effort and a result like that is quite an effort for them.
So they're doing what I would call a lap of gratitude around the SCG at the moment to thank their members, not just for today and their support today after the week, but to thank them for their support throughout the season, of course, because this is the final home and away game of the season. But I'm not sure they would have done this if the events of this week hadn't transpired. And I just saw Andrew Pridham, the chairman, he was smacking his chest really around his heart towards the crowd, basically saying that, you know, this club beats through my veins like it does for so many. It means so much to so many. And you sometimes forget, amid the hysteria of the reporting, how devastated supporters would be at what's happened. Like, this sometimes gets lost a little bit, and supporters it would have been the worst week of their Sydney Swans journey.
Oh, totally. And it's like the deep, hardcore, true supporters, which I'll say this any club, they ride the emotional roller coaster of their football team and their football club, whether it's they're winning or losing or whatever it might be. And this has been a massive loss this week.
This is a full lap of honour as well. So usually at the end of a win, the home team will sort of disperse to different parts of the ground. They've actually gone around as a group and shown their appreciation for the support. Charlie Curnow's signing autographs, and they've made their way across to the Paddington end of the ground, and this is a special moment at the end of a very tough week for the Sydney Swans. West Coast v Hawthorn coming up. We'll get our 3-2-1s shortly as well, and whatever access we can get from the Swans at the end of this turbulent week, we'll bring it all to you here on ABC Sport on this Sunday afternoon, which now becomes Sunday evening.
So Ryan O'Keefe, Joel Patfull, as you said, part of today was played in emotion, and North Melbourne were poor in terms of what they should have delivered. But how much hope do you have for Sydney in the finals now? What might be possible despite the absence of that star-studded infamous five?
Well, the first thing they got in their they got a home final, first stop, and probably looks like it'll be Brisbane. So that is going to be a very tough task. I'll put out that's going to be harsh. And so what I did like is with their playing their two key forwards in Curnow and McDonald, and they've got a lot of speed, forward pressure, and those players will need to do that and some more against a Brisbane outfit. But my only issue is just these young players have got plenty of gusto, and it's just the class and the foot use that might let them down. Because if they kick 21 behinds against Brisbane, that's not happening.
No, it's a big hole to fill, isn't it, with some of those classy players? And I think any team, whichever team comes here to play, are going to be the favourites, I would have thought.
Andrew Pridham and Dean Cox greet the players as they make their way off. I'm sure Matthew Pavlich is down there somewhere as well. The week that's been so difficult for all of them to navigate. The biggest embrace there from Dean Cox on his players. I can tell he's already said to Caden Cleary how proud he is of him as established players, and the newbies who stepped up today for the Swans greet their coach on the boundary's edge. And there is an emotional Dean Cox giving the biggest embrace to Captain Callum Mills. And the tears are still flowing here for the Sydney Swans, but they'll make their way down the Paul Kelly race very soon, and they'll sing the song as per any other win. But this has been a week unlike any other in this club's history.
Amazing to watch.
And they're sharing this with the fans as well, who are just on this Barongal Club Churchill stand side of the ground. So it's all happening in front of them.
Probably the one player be McInerney. Whether he comes back, that'll be a massive in for them if he's able to get back for that first final.
You can see the toll it's taken on Dean Cox. I mean, he would have thought to himself, no doubt, during the week, what could I have said that might have been different? What could I have done that might have prevented this all occurring. I'm sure he would have felt that. He had to listen to the questions as well. He also was the subject of so many people were at Sydney, so much innuendo that was being bandied about around town in WhatsApp groups and whatnot. So much of it was nonsense. But he would have known about some of that because he would have had to have been asked by the club, because eventually you have to address some of it. That would have weighed on him, and you can see the way in which he's mingling with his players right now, that all of that must have taken its toll.
Of course it would have, and he'd been thrown under the bus and criticised, and he's been criticised from a ex-coach of the club about this wouldn't have happened. He would have been absolutely he wouldn't have slept this week. I'm just saying, he would have not slept and having to deal with all that issues and all the rubbish that was said out there, absolute rubbish that was said. It's affecting people in people's lives, and that's what we're dealing with human beings here too, and the mental stress, and that's what the week off would be, the mental recovery that this club would need.
Callum Mills leads them down the Paul Kelly race. Something he's done so often here after wins at the SCG, but as I said, it'll be a different sort of vibe here in the rooms with a feeling of relief. There's certainly jubilation as well at the end of a tough week as they make their way down into the rooms. And on ABC Sport, Phil Pryor is down there for us.
And the emotion is hard to fathom. Callum Mills is leading them in, and they're high-fiving and hugging every single member of the staff. There's a couple of the partners that have worked their way up there as well. Of course, normally it's at the other end of this, the rooms down here where all the loved ones stand, which you can start to hear in the background now as everyone starts to come through. I mean, the emotion that we just saw on the bench was something to behold. I've certainly never seen anything like it. I was 5 or 10 metres away at the time when you've got the likes of Charlie Curnow, Tom McCartan, Callum Mills, Brodie Grundy just warmly embracing their fellow members of staff. Honestly, I can't even describe what happened down there, having really never seen anything quite like it, and now they are starting to work their way into the circle here. Errol Goulden looks particularly emotional. Charlie Curnow just walked right past me and he's yelling at his teammates, just absolutely loving this moment. These guys are absolutely savouring every second of this, so they should. It's been a really tricky week for all of them, of course, and they're going to really enjoy this win. They're going to really enjoy this song, I'm guessing, too. And now Callum Mills is calling every single member of staff to come in and join this circle as they bellow out the cheer, cheer. Again, something I've never seen before down here. So this is a moment really of firsts. It is a unique situation, and we're getting close. Normally they'd be mid-song by now.
It's a long lead in. That's all right.
Isn't it?
It sums up the week.
Yeah. Now it's Joel Amarty, Hayden McLean, the likes of the players that didn't actually participate today coming in. Plenty of the VFL players as well that are down here. Some of the players are starting to get a little bit restless. Coaching staff are involved now. Simon Goodwin in between Matt Roberts and Harry Kyle. And Dean Cox has a member of staff under one arm, and James Rowbottom, the tackling machine, under the other. Here they go.
Loyalty's the theme. Great word pictures, Phil. Well described down there in the Swans rooms. Emotional scenes. We weren't sure if it would be cheer, cheer or jeer, jeer at times today. But the AFLW had a win, and the AFL men see it through as well. 53-point winners over North Melbourne here in front of 30,000 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Back to Phil Price shortly. For what? We don't exactly know. We expect all-in media conferences with potentially Callum Mills and Charlie Curnow, who, of course, wrapped up the Coleman medal here today with his 3 goals. So why don't we just keep our summary going here? I mean, Errol Gordon was phenomenal, Ryan. He obviously holds the key. Yep. What did we see from the Swans structurally that might give us a hint as far as how they'll look to do things during finals, with regards to, yes, the new names coming in, but also how they structure up over the ground?
I think they've got to go with how they look today with small speed pressure. A little bit the old Richmond.
That's finals, right?
That's finals. Just these players, Adam Detoli was really good early. He's probably got a bit quiet, but he, as a young player, Billy Cutie was fantastic all game. Papley was sensational, diving, trying to put fingertips on, bringing energy. Then you're throwing Campbell, who was fantastic. Like, sorry, Hanley. These guys. That's the look they've got to go. I think they've got to just bring the heat and just make it an absolute ferocious contest.
Yeah, the issue's going to be around their midfield and then centre bounce in particular, and how they can match other teams in there. Obviously, Gordon's such a big part of that, and I don't think any team's going to give him as much freedom as what he had today, so that's going to be a big one. Their back line held up pretty well. They still had, I mean, the one thing they did miss is that run and carry off half-back, which has been so big for them this year, but their key position was good. McCartan was strong, Rampy was strong, and they held up pretty well.
Well, I know it's a totally different opposition, and North, you couldn't call them an opposition today, was the Swans, probably without Blakey, without Warner, there was that high-octane run. They didn't seem to have bad turnovers, you know what I mean? Maybe it just sort of dialed down and they're a little bit more composed off the back lines, just because those players didn't want to mix ambition and abilities up. And it looked a lot more clinical the way they moved the ball. High forwards came up and they were able to get over the back of the North Melbourne defence.
Well, they definitely worked their way into the game as well, didn't they? They were obviously that first quarter, everyone was kind of working their way through the game, and maybe that was them getting adjusted to that game style and what that looked like. After halftime, they looked like they came out and they had more of a plan, and they did stick to that. Like you said, they hit a lot more targets going forward, and looked like that ball movement looked like it could be dangerous. They obviously scored well in that last quarter and converted when they had to, so efficiency was high. You know, I think they're obviously going to be up against it, whoever they face in the next couple of weeks. But, you know, there were some positive signs there.
I think the midfield's going to be the issue. It's going to be a makeshift sort of who they roll through there. Obviously, I think McInerney, if he can come back in, and because he's been sensational this year.
There's so much footy now.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing. But still, like, yeah, still he's a class player. Like, bring him back in. That will sort of make a difference. So that's probably just the Achilles heel of them now as their midfield.
A reminder, in 10 minutes, we're off to Perth Stadium for West Coast versus Hawthorn. That's on digital local radio. Beg your pardon. That's on local radio across the country, as well as on ABC Listen via the ABC AFL button. Listeners on DAB Plus and News Radio, you'll be returned to your network programming. Everyone else off to the Eagles and the Hawks, the final home and away game of season 2026. So if you're the Swans, you look at it and say, right, 17-21, could have won by more. So, yes, it's North Melbourne, so not comparable to a finals-like opponent. But does the improvement come? Surely, yes, in the goal kicking. But they weren't perfect today. And if they can put a four-quarter effort together against a side like even the two-time reigning Premier, there may be a way forward to a finals, to going deep in the finals.
Well, look, I think besides probably Fremantle this year, no other team's been really consistent. Like, depends what you get. Look, I think if they've got to come, every one of these players that have come in and the whole team, they're going to have a really even, high, you know, contribution by every player when they come. They can't wait, but they cannot waste opportunities. You waste opportunities against a Brisbane or a Fremantle, these top teams, you're not going to win.
No, exactly. Well, the one thing they're going to have is no expectation as well, so they're going to be able to go out and play with freedom and take a few chances and have a crack. And
let's get down to I think Charlie Curnow's having a chat to the media downstairs. Here we go.
And the AFL men's had some great speeches from Pav, some great quotes from a lot of people this week, and I'm just honoured to be here and be a part of it.
Are you excited for finals?
Yeah. I've never been second on the ladder before, finishing the home and away season, so that's really special. And yeah, I can't wait to do it with all these guys behind me, so got a lot to come.
been said about your season and your time at the club this year. Does the Coleman sort of make everyone go a bit quiet? Is that enough for you?
I don't think it's ever enough. The game's got a good way of bringing you back to level, and all my focus would be that first final and playing a style to get around my teammates, and they're supporting me so much this year. From when I first walked in the doors in November, came back with the young boys. They gave me a lot of energy, a lot of buzz, and got Braden Campbell playing his 100th game tonight, and they're the guys I look to in those big games. I think he's been super impressive. I'm loving Logan McDonald. Who's here loving Logan McDonald? Far out. He's turning into a serious player. We've got Errol back. There's a lot of good going on right now, and I'm just going to jump on the back of the train and hold on. It's going to be a fun few weeks.
Most excited you about this performance, the team performance?
Sorry, what was that?
What's the thing that most excited and pleased you about this team performance?
It's in the fourth quarter then. We got 50 points up. Tom Hanley going back with a flight, knocking the spoil over. That's what excites me at the moment. That got me up, and sitting down there and watching him do that really excites me. So you're going to see a lot more of that. Good. Thanks, guys.
Charlie Curnow, 69 goals on the year, the 2022, 2023, and now 2026 Coleman medalist as well. Former Blue, current Swan, different cat in the way he talks about footy. He's fantastic.
It just seems like he's happy and he's enjoying himself and he's enjoying being part of the club and playing footy. That's good to see. You play well when you're happy.
How important is it going to be, Joel Patfull, to regulate the emotions?
Hold that thought. Callum Mills downstairs.
Apologies.
To you, what we saw out there from the fans and the players. Yeah, it did. The start of the week, you didn't know what we were going to get in the game, and should never doubt the Bloods, should never doubt our fans. They showed up, they supported us, unbelievably well, and was just, overhit by emotion. In terms of, we heard Dean Cox say this week, and you as well, the football was secondary, but how nice was it to get out there and play some football after the week you guys had? Yeah, it was. Pretty nervous, to be honest. Everyone in our group was super nervous because we wanted to go out and compete and do our best, and I'm just really proud of what we put out there and what we walked off with.
What do you think this will do for the club going forward? Sorry? What do you think this will do for the club going forward?
I don't know. I'm just proud of today's win. We'll wake up tomorrow and worry about tomorrow, yeah.
How do you feel now, Cal? Well, there's probably a mixture of emotions still inside you. Can you name them?
Relief's probably one of them, just to show up how we did, be proud of our effort, proud of the Bloods, the way we showed up, and relief that we did it. Yeah.
The week that it's been, was it nice to have a double header? And you've spoken all week about unity between the two teams, but to actually be able to show that with a double header?
Yeah, it was. The girls have been unbelievable. It's been a hard week for the girls and the boys and the whole club, and the way we stuck together, the way our fans showed up for the double header, our girls set the tone with the way they played, and we just had to back it up, and we did.
Callum, how much of the week could you actually spend on preparing for this game and the football side of things?
Not much, to be honest, personally. But we played our system all year, and that's all we had to do. It was nothing changed. Personnel came in that was different, but we played our exact same roles, and so there's a bit of comfort in that.
And 2 weeks now to prepare for the final. Do you think Dean Cox and the coaching staff will have a chance to really think about some things going in and potentially even look at some new roles with the 5 players that are now out?
Maybe, who knows? It's probably a question for Coxie, but you don't change a whole lot going into finals. You just got to do it better, and I'm sure that'll be the main focus. How proud of you guys, like Caden Cleary coming in and kicking the first goal, Tom Hanley, Charlie shouted out before for some of his efforts. These guys are probably the unsung guys this week who have come in and done a pretty amazing job. Yeah, they were awesome, weren't they? They just came in and gave great energy, and they competed really hard, and that's all we asked of them. Play your role, compete hard, and it was nice.
Callum Mills there to Phil Pryor and the media in the Swans rooms. 53-point winners here tonight. Wrapping things up here, heading off to Perth Stadium shortly with Clint Wilden, Mitch Turner, Sharad Wellingham, Chris Waterman and Akash Vodadar there for the call of West Coast and Hawthorn. So the Swans have now had 12 wins in a row against North Melbourne. Kangaroos finished with 7 losses out of their last 8 games. They were in the top 10 until round 16 and, of course, have fallen apart late to end Alistair Clarkson's 4th year in charge, and, of course, no finals at all for the club since 2016. So that's what's to come for North Melbourne.
Well, that's a statement in itself. Like, you're losing the back end. Well, what's happening there? Like, have they lost faith in the way they're going? That's a huge statement. It's not like you've sort of been sporadic during the year. You've just had an abolishing last half of the season.
They were pitiful today. I just wanted to ask Joel before Callum Mills spoke, how important is it to regulate the emotions at Sydney? It was almost as if it was their grand final in a way today, but they've got the final series coming up. So how important is that going to be to control throughout the next week?
Oh, massive. I mean, there was a lot of emotion, wasn't there? It was almost... I don't know how I feel about it. I felt like it was almost a little bit over the top towards the end. I mean, we're all hit. There's a serious situation at the back end of it. So to respond like that is a lot. I think there's been a lot of pressure on the footy club. There's obviously a big release there by everybody, the coaches, the staff, the players, and to respond like that is obviously pretty extreme. So they're going to have to. I think Callum probably summed it up. They'll get to tomorrow and then reassess what the next few weeks look like. But it's going to be huge for them to be able to get through this and then regulate and look what the next few weeks looks like.
By the way, Cal Toomey from AFL.com.au reports that Mark McVeigh could be announced as Essendon coach as early as Tuesday.
Wow.
The timeline now on that. Your 3-2-1, your best players today, Ryan O'Keefe?
Yeah, look, I thought it was a great performance by a number of players, but I'm going to give one vote to Billy Cootie. I think from the get-go, he was applying pressure.
3 goals.
He was really good. I'm giving 2 to the milestone and Braden Campbell. His leg was a lead. He kicked 2 goals as well, and he was providing tackle pressure and everything. And it's pretty obvious Goulden's got the 3 votes.
What do they have in the end, Goulden? So we had 41 disposals, 10 contested, 10 inside 50s, 1,055. So 3 weeks in a row, 1,000 metres gained for Errol Goulden, who holds the key in the absence of others.
He had his own ball out there.
On the Swans at finals tilt. So winners here by 53 points, the Swans. The crowd 30,058. And they finished with 18 wins, 5 losses on the home and away season. Thank you, Ryan O'Keefe.
It's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Joel Patfull. Thank you to Daniel Garb.
Thank you, mate.
As always, to Phil Pryor, who we heard from there during those all-in media conferences, to Tim Traeger, our maestro tech here at the SCG, to Jules back in the studio, and indeed to you, most importantly, for your company as well. DAB Plus local radio and news radio headed back to regular programs. Otherwise, we're all off to West Coast versus Hawthorn at Perth Stadium, the final game of the 2026 home and away season, and it's right here on ABC Sport.